All right, still with me? Hello? Still with me? Really give up. Oh, still put on the air. Are you still with me yet? Do I still have you there? Okay. It's on the Support Ukraine page today. All right, we'll see you.
Good morning, how are you?
How are you?
Spectacular.
All right.
Why would I not
bring in
Hi, I'm Tommy. How are you?
Hi, Terry. How are you?
Oh, Terry's never been in here.
Terry,
for this
pleasure
job.
to meet you. Yeah, I sit with John on Tuesdays.
Oh, okay. Well,
Sneak it in here.
I got Preston to service here. Oh, not quite at the last minute, but close.
It was a good 45 minutes.
All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
You work in a business where you should be ready to go on in a
I'm
moment's
ready.
notice.
Oh, I'm ready. It just hadn't quite anticipated it. You're ready for it, but you never anticipate. Never mind. Shut up, Terry.
414-276-72.
That's why I think everyone who works in anything on air should have to do play-by-play, at least for a little while, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you always need to be able to describe what is happening, even though you weren't anticipating
Do
it.
we have
in any
Alexa
way.
out there?
Pardon?
Do we have Alexa out there over in your area?
I think we do.
Okay, because I was talking to it all morning, it all but give me the middle finger salute, it didn't do anything. I said, turn up the volume. Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Call the
Why we have
Lennox
it out there.
family you know and trust. Christensen Heating.
Okay, we share that in common.
I don't see any use for it, period.
Christensenheating.com. Work you can trust. people
Tommy's
you
over there about to
depend
fall
on. It's
over.
not just a
Oh my God, how
it's
can you
the
not have a voice
foundation of their
assistant?
business.
Oh well, when the FBI is asking Alexa to provide all the information that he's given to it.
Oh,
Right?
fine.
I see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I see what's happening here.
Yep,
That's fine, I get
that's
it.
how they get you. It's Tuesday, and welcome to Krause and Company here on WHBY. I'm Jonathan Krause, and it is Tuesdays with Tommy. Tommy Clifford is back, and hopefully we had a far less dramatic week than you had last week when you joined us.
It was a complete drama-less week. No
Okay,
police,
good.
no nothing. No incarceration, no visits, no flashing lights, nothing.
The unfortunate thing is we need to fill 2 hours. So you needed to have something exciting happen.
Oh, we got a lot. That's okay. There's a lot. We have a lot to talk about
Yeah.
today.
Welcome, by the way, to the Audible edition of Krause and Company. We're calling a lot of audibles today. The folks from Action 2 News this morning, Aisha and Catherine, are not able to join us as they are enjoying The Consultant this week. Woohoo!
The
Nothing we
Consultant.
love more
Dun, dun,
in
dun.
broadcasting than when the consultants come in. So that means that we have Terry Kovarik from WHBY News joining us instead to go inside the headlines. So good morning again, Terry.
And good morning again. 2 days in a row.
Yes, you just set your board over there correctly.
Okay, well, there we
Perfect,
go.
thank you.
There we go.
All right, so let's get into some of the stuff we had for you
All right.
this morning. We'll start off with the Appleton Police Department naming its Officer of the Year.
Well, one of them certainly an Appleton police officer. He's recognized for his life-saving skills. Officer Payne Hughes received a rare life-saving medal at an award ceremony Monday night. This was for actions that saved the life of a man who'd been stabbed in the neck. Officer Hughes credits the training he and other officers received by the department. And Officer Hughes was among 10 officers honored at that ceremony.
By the way, that incident didn't happen far away from your house there, Tommy.
How far away was it?
It was on West College.
Oh
over there.
boy.
Associated with a certain club.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That club. I remember that. I didn't hear
Yeah.
a word. I didn't hear.
It's all about that club.
Yep.
that club.
All right, so congratulations to him and great job there. As he was able to save the man's life. Now you have just an attempted homicide charge instead of first-degree intentional homicide charge in that criminal case, which, by the way, is still making its way through the courts. Now, great concern, not only in areas like Buffalo and Milwaukee, but Green Bay as well, as far as public safety goes and gun violence, which is becoming more prevalent again. What does Green Bay's police chief have to say about that?
Well, as you mentioned, Jonathan, gun violence over the weekend in Milwaukee, Buffalo, and California, that's raising questions about the prospects of similar incidents in the Fox Valley and northeast Wisconsin. Green Bay Police Chief Chris Davis says his department does not see gun violence on the same level, certainly, as the larger communities. Though he tells Action 2 News his department is prepared to respond. Green Bay Police Department, they have a permanent neighborhood response team in place. It focuses on gun crimes specifically as an intervention tactic.
I think they beefed that up following the incidents, was it last fall, where one house over on the near west side of the city was targeted for gunfire like 3 times in a week and a half.
Yeah, that's where it started. They've now made it, a permanent thing. The Green Bay Police Department, again, they've made that the response team a permanent addition to the department, which shows how serious they're taking the gun crimes. Somebody made mention. I think it was Milwaukee's mayor and their police chief. They made mention. Part of the problem is the easier access to firearms right now. I guess especially with the addition of the concealed carry. That's what's adding to the problem, in their view.
I'd like to see the study that shows that concealed carry permit holders are inciting more gun violence. Haven't seen that one. And finally, as we always see when something is in short supply, people are going to take every opportunity they can to rip others off.
That they do, yes, and it's coming, but it's very close to home for families with infants. Parents, you need to beware of online baby formula scams. Reporter Bob Haig, he explains why.
A quick question for you, Tommy, since you probably know better than I do. What is the refund or scam policy that places like Venmo and PayPal have? Do you at least get your money back? Is it like a credit card where you can challenge a withdrawal or a payment and get refunded?
You can challenge it. Of course, they're not, if you're going after somebody and they're stupid enough to have it tied to their bank account, then it can, go all the way back to that bank account and pull it out. But if that person isn't, they can only go as deep as the amount of funds that are currently in the quote-unquote scammer's account. So a good scammer will take your money and then will pull it out of PayPal, and then PayPal can't do anything.
So PayPal itself would not give you the money?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
There you
It
go.
sounds so easy. So easy and
Well, and
convenient.
it's just, really the so easy way to do it is just go onto Amazon and switch from United States to Canada, and then you can go get all the formula you want, have it shipped to the United States, no problem.
You heard it here first.
That's what I'm telling you to do.
The only problem is you get only about 75% of what you order because it's Canadian.
Oh, I understand that, but 75% of what you order is considerably different than 0% of what you ordered. And so that's what I would do. That's how I would solve the problem.
What is a good sign here that somebody, in your view, is coming out there, they're promising something, it seems like a good deal, and it might be with a scam? I mean, I'm seeing it here where somebody was contacting me on, Jonathan, on the company email here saying they needed to verify that I was on Facebook, but then it comes down there, it says fake book. So, I mean, I looked at the address there. What's a
You
good
really need to do I've gotten, as a real estate agent, I've gotten text messages from my broker and text messages and quote, hey, I'm in this training and I'm giving away gift cards. Can you go down to CVS and get some gift cards? You really have to
Red
verify
flag.
those type, total red flag. You need to verify if the hairs on the back of your neck go up, you know, you need to verify this. If it seems too good to be true, chances are it really is. And unless I'm talking to that person and recognize that voice, I don't trust anything digitally. That's all there's to it. That is all there is to it. I need to shake that person's hand or talk to him on the phone before I'll believe that this business transaction or whatever it is, because a text message doesn't cut it for me. No way,
Amen.
not anymore.
Amen.
All right. No wonder you never answer my text.
No, that's not it.
Blocked. Hey, I tried
No.
sending you a text message. Oh, it didn't come through. I don't know. Maybe
As
it
long
wasn't
as
in
you're
the
not
service
asking for
area.
gift cards, I'll return and reply. And I'll even, if you were asking for gift cards, I'd still mess with you. I'm not gonna go get the gift cards. Or I'll send you pictures of other gift cards I've had that are already, I'll like hold my thumb over it so they can't see the full numbers. I'll mess with them. I make their life miserable.
Yeah,
Or I'll
we
send
need to
them
talk
pic-
about your dangerous dance with the devil that you enjoy.
Oh, I
For some
love that.
reason.
I love it. I love it.
All right, Terry, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us to go inside the headlines, brought to you by Settlers Bank. We'll talk to you again on Thursday.
You betcha.
By the way, all of this thing, you know, where we got the online scammers and PayPal can't get you your money back. I found a new Twitter account over the weekend.
Yes?
That's my new favorite. And I want to share it with you when we come back from the break. So it's
Look
Tuesdays
forward
with
to it.
Tommy edition of Krause and Company here on WHBY. It's called Web3 is going just great. And it is about disasters happening in crypto, DeFi, NFTs, and other blockchain-based projects.
Hi, this is Sam Duell with Duell Financial Strategies, and I'm here to let you know that it's okay.
Web3
if you're
is
not
going
feeling
just great.
okay.
Yep.
If you're tired of being told to hang in there. If you're
So it's
concerned
got,
about market volatility or being
Bored
downplayed or
Ape
ignored, you owe it to yourself to get up and
Picture
give us a
with
call
the
at
planet on fire
920-832-3720
behind it.
to learn about strategies
Follows
that can
one
put
person
your
at
mind at ease.
68,000
You don't have to live in fear that the money will run out.
It also has
Know
a
lifestyle review
website
uncovers
where you
places
can
where
find
you
out
might
more
be vulnerable.
about all
Your
of
time
the
to retire
articles
is 3 or
that
fewer
they
years
link
away.
to.
Losing money is not okay. Visit us at dualstrategies.com or call today 920-832-3720.
I was reading an article
Shop
about
Woodward Radio Group's
that
big
cryptocurrency
deals.
Luna.
Save
Someone
up to
had like
30% every
$8
day.
million worth of
Gift
that.
cards and certificates to local
3 weeks
businesses,
ago, now it's worth
featuring
like
home and garden,
$2,500
automotive, gifts, food and beverage, services, travel,
What life
entertainment,
goes.
and more. Check back often for our
win some,
Happy
you lose
Deal
some.
Week, featuring a deep discount of up to 50% off. Shop local and save today. Click on the Big Deals button at WHBY.com. Exclusions apply. See online store for details.
Providence Academy, a classical Christian school, has document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. Headmaster Ron Young.
We're growing rapidly, and we've gone from 2 campuses to our new facility where we're all together. So new machines, new facility.
Toshiba copier printers and local support from James Imaging Systems, helping to ensure your school's success and the success of your students.
That's correct. They reviewed our needs and gave us great recommendations and what would be best for us.
James Imaging Systems, helping local organizations and businesses do better.
They really have been a great partner. You just feel like they know what they're doing and that we're being taken care of well.
Go with better. Go with Toshiba copier printers and local service and support from James Imaging Systems. Call 920-991-9822. James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner.
The Heart of the Valley Chamber and Network Health invites you to participate in 50 on the Fox. Between now through September 1st, log 50 miles of biking, running, walking, or skating. The goal is to get active using the trails in and around the Fox River and Heart of the Valley. Just log 50 miles before September 1st and you'll receive a Shop Local coupon book full of deals, freebies, and rewards that support local businesses, and you'll be entered to win a $250 Shop and Dine local package. Just like that, FiftyOnTheFox.com.
Wolfgrass Nursery and Landscaping has everything you need for spring planting. Order fruit trees, seedlings, and transplants, or get your total landscape plan started today. Wolfgrass.com.
Celebrate May Beef Month with Nema's Southside Market and WHBY. It's your chance to win a quarter cow cuts of beef to stock your freezer.
Then it features so many terms that I've never heard of, like a flash loan attack.
Flash loan attack.
See?
I don't know what that is.
Flash loan attack on Feed Every Gorilla token takes $1.3 million, tanking the token price by 80%.
It's true. When you get your home loan from a place you own, the profits do come back to you in the form of the best rates at
Then you have
Community First
pump and dump
Credit Union.
schemes.
Fresh fish, Nema's Southside Market every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A different selection every day. Fresh fish.
Oh.
One day we're going to do a show and it's going to be nothing but Rush music for
Oh,
2.5 hours.
please. I would love to be there and to, that would be glorious.
You know what? Maybe I'll bring in some of my rare live tracks that I have on my iPod Classic that everyone mocks that you can't find on iTunes or Apple Music.
I would love to hear your rare Rush tracks that can only be played on your iPod that once you drop it and break it, then it's gone forever. I would love that.
What do you mean? It's saved on the hard drive.
Okay, let's see what's happening here. Okay.
So that will be an entire segment coming up later on. The end of the iPod from Apple and how
sad day. Hold on, I have my black armband on.
how it changed music and the way we listen, not only the way we listen to music, but the way we buy music as
Correct.
well, and the way music is made. All with one device.
So much to be talked about.
Yes.
So much there. Unpack. Holy cow. That'll be a good segment. Very good
It will.
segment.
All right, so before the break, I mentioned that I have a new favorite Twitter account.
Yes.
This is the one replacing Would It Dong, which tells you if every long fly ball and home run hit in Major League Baseball would have been a home run in every Major League ballpark or in just a handful. There's a lot of home runs that
Oh
would
my
only be
gosh,
home
that's
runs.
a great website.
There's a lot of home runs hit at Wrigley Field that would only be home runs at Wrigley Field. There's a lot of home runs hit at Yankee Stadium to right field that would only be home runs at Yankee Stadium in right field.
Because there's no standard whatsoever.
Correct.
Is there a standard on how far a home? What? Is
I
there like a minimum?
believe the third base line or the foul poles must be at least 315 feet from home plate, I think is the current requirement. But there are some that are grandfathered in.
Well, right. I mean, you think about Boston, the Green Monster. Just because it's a,
Yes.
it won't be a. That'll be a home run any place else, but it'll bounce off the Green
Sure.
Monster and then come back in.
The other thing is Pesky's pole, which is in right field, is only about 306 feet from home plate. But then the right field corner curves almost directly behind the foul pole
Oh my gosh.
out to a standard depth. You know that, but it shows what a difference the actual ballpark makes in the sport of baseball,
Sure. Everybody
as
has
opposed
their
to
their-
the standardization we have in every other sport in terms of the playing surface.
Correct. Very interesting. Never even looked at it from
Yeah.
that standpoint.
So it's a very fun. It's particularly frustrating, when your team is playing on the road and they hit this monster flyout that's caught at the wall that would have been a home run in 29 of 30 Major League ballparks, except the one they were playing. in,
Correct.
And it ends
Correct.
up costing them the game.
I mean, can you imagine having Lambeau Field have, thinner or wider, I mean, that's exactly what we're
Only
talking
being
about.
90 yards. It's an old stadium, so we only have room for a 90-yard field. How
Sure.
much difference would that make in games played at Lambeau?
That's correct. Or
Or it was more narrow.
it's
It couldn't be as wide.
or the roof is lower, so you hit the roof with a punt. That kind of thing.
Well, that has happened.
Oh, I know it has.
Some
Did it
of
happen
the-
at AT&T Stadium where they hit the scoreboard?
Not in the game.
But it's still, I mean, it's still possible. It really is. I mean, those guys can.
Oh, yeah.
They can jack it. Holy
So
cow.
anyway, the new favorite website
The new
Twitter account
favorite.
is Web3 is going just great. And it
Uh-oh.
features the many disasters happening in crypto, DeFi, NFTs, and other blockchain-based projects. Most recent example of what they have here, American running untraceable service designed to evade U.S. sanctions is charged after being traced. So this is a man who transferred more than $10 million in Bitcoin to a cryptocurrency exchange in a
boy.
comprehensively sanctioned country where they were running a payments platform. They advertised that transactions through the platform were untraceable and described the platform as designed to evade U.S. sanctions. Despite this, law enforcement was still able to obtain information from U.S. and foreign cryptocurrency exchanges, including KYC information. Do you know what that is, KYC?
I don't know what KYC is.
And provided by the individual to help identify and trace the person who was behind it. It is believed that this was either involving Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Syria, or Russia. Those are the ones we are heavily sanctioning at this time. The case also marked the DOJ's first criminal prosecution involving alleged use of crypto to evade U.S. sanctions. So there you go. One fine example there. Then we have flash loan attack on Feed Every Gorilla token steals $1.3 million.
That's kind of horrific. I mean, you know, all this decentralization is wonderful, but when it's not wonderful, it's not wonderful. And that's what we're seeing here. We're absolutely seeing, you know, what goes up comes down, and well, decentralized, and I get it. But the centralization of some things gives it stability. This is very unstable at this very moment. Very unstable.
Well, there's two things that come from this. First, a flash loan attack. I'm not sure exactly what that means. And the other thing is that people are buying tokens from Feed Every Gorilla.
What is Feed Every Gorilla?
Believing that it has some kind of value to it. The project operates on both the Ethereum and BSC chains, and the attacker was able to use the exploit against the contracts for both networks. Prior to the hack, FEG, which is Feed Every Gorilla, had earned some notoriety from a May 2021 Vanity Fair article outlining an alleged pump and dump scheme, which apparently was people building up the value of this token.
Pump it up and then dump it.
And then dumping it because it's a pyramid scheme.
Correct.
And those who were stuck at the end lost all the money.
Correct.
Which is basically every cryptocurrency of note. Despite the bad press, much of the FEG community maintained that the article was a smear and nothing more than an attempt by the author to create FUD. What is that?
Fear, something, and doubt. Fear, undesirable, fear, something, and doubt. FUD.
And then this is my favorite. One of the moderators in the FEG subreddit, another fine venue, says, quote, "You could literally take every token and this would apply to everyone." You are correct, sir.
It probably would. I mean, because if you think about it, you know, back in the, you know, early 2000s, there was all these .coms, and most of them have all just completely fizzled, you know. And you think about, okay, in the 1910s,
but at least they were providing something.
How many audible?
You know, there was like a website and a service that they were promising you. A Bored Ape NFT. What is that providing you? It's providing you something that someone says is of value.
Correct. Well, what's the value of that website unless other people find value in it?
Someone would have to use it, yes. How are you using your Bored Ape NFT or your Feed Every Gorilla NFT?
Oh man, this isn't going to go well at all. This isn't going to go well, but I get it. I totally get it. I mean, but where I was going to say is, like, back in the 1910s, there were like 400 different automobile companies, and it all compressed and condensed, and now we have, you know, 3 majors. I think we're definitely in a period of time right now where we have so many different Web 3.0, and everybody wants this decentralization, but at the end of the day, that decentralization is hurting us.
So again, the Twitter website or username is Web3 is going just great. It is at Web3 is great is the handle on Twitter. And I will admit the language to this is a bit dense at times, and as Tommy just attested to here, there's a lot of terms that a lot of people don't know what they mean, but it is still just great to watch all of this.
They have a great website too.
Dumpster fire going on.
Great.com. Yeah. And it's just great. One example after the other. I mean, there's wins. People have wins, but there's losses.
Yeah. Dumpster fire. Let's take a break. When we come back, the iPod and how it changed everything in music. That's next.
Pub 55, formerly known as Columnist Pub in Kaukauna, has just what you need every day of the week. On Mondays, come check out their all-you-can-eat wings. On Tuesdays and Sundays, Pub 55 offers up their delicious roasted chicken. Thursdays are the chef's specials, and on Wednesdays and Fridays, you'll love their baked or fried fish and seafood. Enjoy specialty pizzas, wraps, and basket meals anytime, made fresh to order. Pub 55 also has their private Roadhouse at 55 room to rent. Perfect for every event. Pub 55. Check them out at pub55.com.
Everyone loves saving money, right?
So, check out the deals at local businesses on the Big Deals page at WHBY.com.
So we had one of those extra percentage off deals on big deals, and there was a pizza place in Oshkosh that Michelle wanted to try. So she asked if I could get one of the certificates, and then we would go there and use it. So I bought one of them, and we got it in the mail, and about 2 weeks later, went down on a Friday, one of my rare Friday evenings with nothing going on, went down there, place is dark. No cars in the parking lot, and it looked like all the chairs were up on the tables inside.
Yep.
And I'm like, this doesn't look good.
Weekdays at 5 on
And
WHBY.
go up to the door, closed today, not enough staff. So, like, okay, this is a temporary thing. So I tried calling them the next week, voicemail, or answering machine, whatever it was. Thank you, we're not open right now, our regular business hours are this, you know, which I was calling during. Then, Michelle asked around a little bit, because she works in the liquor industry, and they had a liquor license. They shut down, and they're trying to sell the place. Great. Glad I bought that certificate.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
Through us.
Air Force One has just touched down in Buffalo. President Biden and his wife Jill joined.
But that's not an uncommon thing. When I was with Cumulus,
after what police say
we had what we called the 50-50 deal. So there were $50 certificates to businesses, and you only paid $25. So 50% off $50. And as part of a deal to make us less miserable in our jobs over there, we would get free certificates. So I had one for a supper club down by Waupun, and one for another restaurant out near Watoma, I think it was.
The Commerce Department says
And
sales were up.
we decided on Saturday, nothing going on. Hey, let's use this certificate. We'll go to that place down in Waupun. We got time to drive down there. Drive down, close.
And drinking places, mostly because we
I'm like, well, I got this other one here in the envelope, so we can, take back roads and head up to Watoma instead. Drive up there, closed.
23%.
Both out of business.
Months of the year.
They literally had been. They had literally been selling those certificates a month before they went out of
political
business.
analyst Larry Sabato.
The Republican incumbent.
Pump money into them, let them get out.
Republicans really.
And then how it works on our side, the radio side, is there's no cash exchange hands. So they get the advertising worth what they are giving out in certificates. And then we keep all the cash that comes in on the sale of the certificates. So in effect, we, the radio station, have ripped you off, not the advertiser or the business, when the business goes out of business. Now, I won't be discussing that on the air as much as I would like to. I guess we just did it on the street. There you go.
A massive underground find in Southern California. Officials say they've uncovered a drug smuggling tunnel the length of 6 football fields from Tijuana
There's
to
people that are like that.
They say it was built in one of the most fortified.
Well, I'm like that
areas of
too.
the border.
I'm not the biggest fan of it,
Ventilation, railroad cars,
but
and
you
reinforced
adjust
walls.
on the fly.
Brittle bones? Get out there and move. CBS's Vicky Barker explains.
I remember buying my first iPod at Best Buy. I got the 20 gigabyte model. It was an open box. I got it for like $100 off. Spent a lot of money
The
on
Dow
that.
is up 293 points.
I remember how
This is
disappointed I was when I
CBS
was
News.
walking with it and it would skip. What? It would skip? How does it skip?
You were banging it around in your pocket?
It was just being in your pocket, you know.
On CBS.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. That symphony of engines roaring in perfect harmony. It's a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, Jerry. Oh, my word. Really, really terrible. Is that a glockenspiel, Jerry? Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. No, Jerry. It's over.
Keep your cars, ATVs, boats, RVs, and more protected with Versatube steel shelters and get 11% off all of it at Menards.
Yeah, you changed to Amazon Canada formula. Here it is.
Shelters
right here. Delivered.
From ATVs to cars and boats.
Delivered.
You'll have plenty of room to store them all. Get 11% off everything now at
When
Menards.
can it be delivered?
Good
In stock.
through
In
May
stock.
21st. Savings or mail-in rebates. Some
Wednesday the
exclusions apply.
25th.
See store for details.
I get it delivered to the United States Wednesday the 25th.
Have you ever spotted a fawn on its own? Before fawns are strong
Oh, here's
enough
Friday
to
the
keep up with
20th.
their
Get it
moms, they
get it
spend
here on
hours
Friday.
alone. While mom is away looking
Excuse
for
me.
food nearby, baby deer are safest, lying quiet and still. This natural behavior keeps them safe. Help protect them by keeping your distance. If you come across a fawn this spring, always remember, if you care, leave the fawn there. Learn more at dnr.wy.gov. This message is brought to you by the Wisconsin
Leave the fawn
DNR.
there.
Here's the latest from the WHBY Omni Glass and Paint News Center.
Good morning at 9:04. It's 51 and sunny. With WHBY News, I'm Terry Kavarik. A Fond du Lac County jury finds a man guilty in the 2019 death of his 75-year-old grandmother. Jurors vote to convict Gregory Spatel of second-degree reckless homicide, battery, or threat to law enforcement officers, resisting an officer, disorderly conduct, possession of cocaine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Those charges are in connection with the death of Spatel's grandmother at his Brandon Street home on August 24th, 2019. Sentencing is scheduled for July 20th. Gun violence over the weekend in Milwaukee, Buffalo, and California raises questions about the prospects of similar incidents in the Fox Valley and northeast Wisconsin. Green Bay Police Chief Chris Davis says his department does not see gun violence on the same level as larger communities, though he tells Action 2 News his department is prepared to respond.
We have a very comprehensive safety plan, and do a lot of planning and training and tabletop type exercises to make sure we're ahead of the curve when it comes to those things.
The Green Bay Police Department has a permanent neighborhood response team in place. It focuses on gun crime specifically as an intervention tactic. And Advocate Aurora plans to start work this year on construction of a new hospital in Fond du Lac. Aurora Medical Center will see the expansion of a current clinic along Wisconsin.
Yeah, you mentioned if it was to drop on the floor and break my iPod, it does. Everything is all backed up on iTunes. So I would just have to get the $340 custom-built iPod Classic 7th generation.
I mean, you can
256 gig, 1 terabyte, and download everything back on there.
I mean, you can buy older ones, and there's a huge, big cottage industry taking
Oh, yeah.
old ones and putting SSDs in them. So there's no, there, I mean, it would be like a
health and finances. Join the attorneys at Hooper Law Office for a free interactive educational webinar series in the comfort of your home.
Yep.
Inspired by the popular Wills versus Trust seminar.
And that's what it
This
must be,
series gives
this one,
participants the opportunity
that I have
to ask
called up.
questions
It's on
and learn
Etsy,
about the aspects
all
of estate
places.
planning and also estate planning that
Custom-built
they're most
iPod Classic
Next
7th
session
generation
will take
digital
place
media
at noon
player,
on Wednesday,
256
May 18th.
gig,
The topic of
1
this session,
terabyte
what every
SDXC
personal
or
representative needs to
SSD
know,
Tarkan
navigating probate
boards.
and estate settlement.
I don't know
Register
what
at
that means.
estateplanninglive.com. All registered participants will receive complimentary educational materials and have an opportunity to ask questions during the session. Register today. The first 50 registrants will receive a free copy of Hooper Law Office's book, Your Life, Your Legacy 2, Probate and Trust Settlement. Register today at estateplanninglive.com.
My greatest fear is losing the 30-pin charger and converter.
Your Tuesday weather looks a little cooler
Because
than
then
yesterday.
you're done.
A high of
Oh, you can get those
68
from anywhere.
degrees, morning sunshine, then increasing afternoon clouds. Tonight, mostly cloudy, not too much wind, a low of 48, with showers developing into tomorrow morning. Overcast Wednesday, cool and damp, a high of 59. From the WBAY First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist.
Thanks, Steve. Right now, sunny and 54 at the Myron Construction Studio of WHBY.
So we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. That symphony of engines roaring in perfect harmony. It's a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, Jerry. Oh, my word. Really, really terrible. Was that a glockenspiel, Jerry? Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. No, Jerry. It's over.
The place to watch all the exciting Milwaukee baseball action this season is the Stone Toad Bar and Grill in Menasha. Plenty of room in the spacious Toad, along with great viewing on all the big screen TVs. Great food and drink specials each and every day of the week, including the famous 7-hour happy hour, Monday through Thursday. Be sure to get to 1109 Oneida Street in Menasha for all the Crew games this season. And, of course, hang with your buddies, Vince and Dixie. Play ball! See all their delicious food items and upcoming events at StoneToadBarandGrill.com or on their Facebook page.
Did you say you love the Stone Toad?
Yeah, it's a great place.
Krause & Company is brought to you by Hooper Law Office. Find their offices in Appleton, Green Bay, and Oshkosh or online at hooperlawoffice.com. For your elder law and estate planning needs, Hooper Law Office, providing a pathway to your legacy. Jonathan Krause, Tommy Clifford, Tuesdays with Tommy here on Krause & Company on WHBY. And we are going to talk about one of Tommy's favorite things, and that is music storage devices.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna be so awesome. So awesome to talk about this, because we see eye to eye, not really.
We're going
we have a lot of things that we see the same.
We're mourning the death now of the iPod, which Apple announced last week it was no longer going to make. And wouldn't you know it, just days after being discontinued, the last iPod, 7th generation iPod Touch, has officially sold out on Apple's U.S. online store, which I believe is the only place you can still get them. I don't think you can even get them at the Apple stores anymore.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think you can only order them online. Of course, now eBay is just ablaze with them.
Yes.
eBay, and then you saw some. There's like we've found out there's a cottage industry in taking older iPods, replacing the mechanical hard drives with solid state ones.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a little bit here when we talk about my iPod. But you wanted to talk a little bit about how the product was initially met, especially by those inside the technology industries, when Steve Jobs said, we're going to give you an opportunity to have a digital music holder.
See, Steve Jobs, it was great. He talked about, 1,000 songs in your pocket, and then he pulled it out of his jeans pocket. And he held it up, and I think it was $3.99 was the price. It was only had 5 gigabytes of storage, so 1,000 songs in your pocket. Boy, industry pundits went nuts on that. They said this is the dumbest thing. Who's going to want to carry around their music? There was just so much crow to be eaten all the way around, and I don't know how many of these things Apple has sold. It could very well be on the billion range, or certainly hundreds of millions of these things. But Steve Jobs changed the world almost overnight with that device.
Now, we should say this was not the first MP3 device.
It was not. Sony had one. Sony didn't like the MP3 standard, so being Sony, they had out their own.
Yep.
There was a couple other companies that came out with MP3 players, some that where you would save the MP3s to like a CD type of format. The other one would save it to like a flash drive type of thing. So no, Apple didn't do anything. Apple didn't recreate it, or didn't create it. They recreated it, and they made it simpler. You notice it didn't have really any buttons. It just had the click wheel. You could click in the middle, and then you could spin and click. There was no on-off button. There was no, actually, initially, it wasn't even compatible with any PCs. It was only Mac only, because Macs had FireWire, and you had to get a special PC one with a FireWire card so it could talk to the PC. And iTunes wasn't even PC compatible when it first came out. So this turned out to be quite a halo product for the Mac. People say, hey, I want that. Okay, now I'm going to have to buy a Mac to go get it. And I think that worked in some cases. But it was pretty amazing. My first iPod, I still have it, 20 gigs of storage. I was reminiscing how when I would go for a walk and it would skip, I go, man, are you serious? This thing skips? Then I realized it actually has a spinning platter in there. It's a tiny little thing, but it does have a little Toshiba 1.8 inch spinning hard drive in there.
And that is why I can't remember what the term they used for it, but it made it feel like it was a live thing.
Oh yes,
because
yes,
you would feel it spinning in there.
Almost
and
like the
you'd
gyroscope. Yep.
Sound.
It would come up and it would come down, and it was tethered. And remember the Apple ads where you'd have these silhouettes and all you would see was the white headphones. Very reminiscent of Michael Jackson, why he had the white gloves and the white socks, because you would see him and you would focus on that. So Apple's imagery, I think, played off of that. You'd see these people doing all these dance moves with their iPods, and that's why Apple became known for the white product. I mean, and everybody would, you would look at it, oh, you don't have white headphones, oh, you don't have an iPhone or an iPod, you're like, would look down on you. Kind of like people who you talk to on your iPhone that have the green bubble. If they're Android people, you look down on the Android people, the green bubble people.
According to BusinessInsider.com, Apple has sold more than 400 million iPods since launching them in 2001.
400 million of them. Who would have thought that they would just be, I mean, people, how many companies sell 400 million of anything? And this is, we're not talking Tic Tacs or jelly beans, but this is a significant product. This changed everything. I mean, because then they talked about, they came out with this, and then, okay, this was back in the Napster days where everybody was stealing their music, and Apple worked really, really hard to make sure that people couldn't plug in your iPod, transfer your music to a computer, then transfer it to somebody else. There's all these different safety mechanisms in place. You had to kind of register that iPod with a computer, and if you moved it computers, then it would erase it blank, so you couldn't take your music with you. Trying to keep those people away, those type of piracy away. And then they came up with the iTunes Music Store, where you can buy music one song at a time.
35 billion songs have been sold.
Oh my heavens,
to
Murgatroyd.
Through Apple, through iTunes, yes.
At 99 cents a song, each, I'm sure the music artist gets like a tenth of a penny or something. I mean, I'm sure.
They get more than the streaming services pay. You get more than that out of the 99 cents.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But did you say 35 billion with a B?
35 billion songs.
Oh my heavens. That's a lot of music. And then you think about, the days of getting your vinyl or your cassettes or even Shutter 8-tracks. I remember 8-track players. But then you get your cassettes and your vinyl. I remember opening up moving pictures on vinyl. Oh my gosh, just the smell and the whole thing. Going to the House of Guitars to go get a new Rush album.
Yeah, we'll talk about those experiences here in the next segment.
I'm jumping ahead. I apologize.
What was it when you think about it? The iPod is very outdated, if you will. It's been around for 20 years. Why was it so successful and able to hang around when so many of its other competitors that came out at the same time gone? No, because remember, Sony had a Walkman version of an MP3 player.
Sony had a Walkman version.
Nobody's got that.
Correct. Nobody has it. I think it's the ecosystem. It's the fact that you can have your music, and then you can take it to your laptop. You can organize it. You get your playlists. You can update the lyrics. You can download the album art. I mean, that's a art form in its own right, organizing your playlist. There's hundreds of different tools to help you organize it, help you categorize it. Oh my goodness, getting all that information, making sure that you have the song titles. Remember when you would burn a CD and then you'd have to rename each track, the song track? Now, when you have iTunes, you put the CD in, it automatically recognizes the digital signature of the CD. It phones home to somebody, and then they say, "Oh, this is that's Jump by Van Halen." Oh, it automatically knows that by the digital signature, and it would put that information, and it knows how long the song is, and then it would download the album artwork and the lyrics. spent so much time going through albums, organizing them. But I think that's why the iPod was so successful, is because you built this ecosystem, plus Apple made it sexy. When they sold it, you weren't just buying a digital music device, you're building a lifestyle. I want to dance as cool as those silhouettes in those ads. I want to be hip. I mean, you'd go to Times Square and you'd see 8-story tall silhouettes with the white, ear pods and their iPod that they're holding. And I think that's because they sold the lifestyle. That's what I really think.
It's interesting because I really didn't know much about the commercials and didn't really care for the commercials and really didn't care that people were dancing in the commercials. What I cared about is I didn't have a stack of CDs sliding around on the floor of my car anymore.
And you didn't have to, do you remember stopping your car and having to get out and go to the trunk to move, because you could only have 5 to 10 CDs loaded at once if you had one of those CD
I never had one of
changers.
those. I never had a trunk.
Oh, you were never
CD
bougie
changer.
with a CD changer?
No.
Oh.
Okay, so my vehicles, I had the portable CD player and then the cassette attachment that went into the cassette deck of the stereo.
Oh no, really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what you got to do. That was the early aux cord for anyone
That's
under
true.
the age of 30. That's how you played your digital music.
I remember I had
in the
my
Jeep back in those
Volvo
days.
850 Turbo, and I would pull over on the roadside because I had to switch from one CD cartridge to the next. I could load CDs in the front, but it'll be only play one at a time. But if I had them all, and you remember having to go, you have those like CD cases with the leather inserts in them, and you zip them up, and oh my heavens.
Yeah.
And then someone could steal that, and you'd lose all your music. It would be all gone.
Oh, the good old days. All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about the way that the iPod changed the way we not only consume, but also make music. That's next on Krause & Company here on HBY.
Waters, Market President of Settlers Bank, where we know that managing your business can be complicated. Our talented treasury management team offers high-tech solutions that simplify. By maximizing efficiency and optimizing cash flow, we'll achieve results that transform your business. To learn more, stop by or visit settlerswi.com.
Settlers Bank, timely decisions, people you know.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, it's Haley. Join me on Thursday from 11 to 1 with Focus Fox Valley at KK Sew and Back in Darboy. I'll be with the Chefs Gone Grillin'. We're celebrating Customer Appreciation Day with lunch, great sales, and door prizes. See you this Thursday.
The countdown to summer sale is going on now at Fleet Farm. Get everything you need for outdoor work and play in one easy stop. Grab all your gear for outdoor fun, like camping and fishing supplies, even power sports. Have the best yard on the block with fertilizers, mulch, patio furniture, and lawn equipment. Plus, check out the garden center for top nursery quality plants.
I thought you someone turned on the TV.
Get it all during the countdown to summer at your outdoor headquarters, Fleet Farm.
The Heart of the Valley Chamber and Network Health invites you to participate in 50 on the Fox. Between now through September 1st, log 50 miles of biking, running, walking, or skating. The goal is to get active using the trails in and around the Fox River and Heart of the Valley. Just log 50 miles before September 1st and you'll receive...
I mean, the iPod kind of killed mixtapes. Remember all the mixtapes? Remember waiting on the radio?
Absolutely. And mixed CDs for that matter.
Yes. I remember calling in the DJ, hey, I want to hear this song. I want to hear... Oh, gosh. Yeah, kid, I'll play it for you. You would never play it for me. And then you'd be like waiting by the radio. My parents would say, go to bed. And then as you'd play it, the DJ would talk through the first 5 seconds of the song.
Let's see if we can get that out for you.
Oh my word. Really, really terrible. Was that a glockenspiel, Jerry? Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. No, Jerry. It's over.
Hustle up. We've got 8 more floors to go before lunch.
Sarusha's window washing business is reaching new heights.
Wipe, and let's roll.
They need more certified cleaners to keep online reviews crystal clear.
Team, I know we're hustling, but watch for streaks. Candace, can you give me a hand
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job
CNN, home
description.
prices are at
Visit
record highs and still rising, but
Indeed.com/credit
there are some
and
early
get
indications that the
$75
market may
towards your
be
job.
starting to
Terms and
cool.
conditions apply.
For sellers looking to get top dollar for their home, the time to sell is now. Ledges feeds more into the
more than 750 positions for the week of
increasing price.
Air Venture Oshkosh, July 25th through 31st. Earn extra cash using existing skills or learn some new ones. Flexible scheduling options allow you to enjoy the show as both a visitor and a worker. Ages 14 and up are welcome to apply for positions that include retail, security, and parking. For more information, visit eaa.org/hiring.
Would you like job security along with great pay and benefits? Panagold, the bakers of Country Heart bread products, offers a starting wage of over $20 an hour, medical and dental coverage, paid holidays, retirement funding, and opportunities for growth and advancement. Panagold has many positions throughout the bakery, so chances are good there's going to be a fit for you that will work with your schedule. Currently, there are openings for production, sanitation, maintenance, shipping, and delivery drivers. Find out more and apply today at countryheartjobs.com.
Wheel and Sprocket's jam-packed. Buy it now, ride it now, and wow, let the good times roll. Great bikes from the best brands in Oshkosh and our recently remodeled Appleton location. Enjoy your ride.
Enjoy your ride. Back on Krause and Company here on WHBY. Jonathan Krause, Tommy Clifford with you. Tuesdays with Tommy edition of the show today. And that, of course, was Nirvana. Lounge Act from their breakthrough album Nevermind, which I stood in line to purchase the day after seeing the video on 120 Minutes on MTV, making its world premiere on State Street.
Oh my gosh,
exclusive company.
the world premiere. How long did you stand in line for?
It was only about 15 minutes. I mean,
That's not too bad.
The store opened, I think, at 9, so we cut class that morning, and we were down there by 8:45. But
Sure.
we were not alone. There were other people who had seen that episode that night. It was kind of a thing. The floor that I lived on in the dorms, we, on Sunday nights, those of us who were into what used to be known as college music or indie rock, we would watch 120 Minutes on MTV.
Oh, yes.
And that was on, I want to say, 10 to midnight our time, if I'm not
Sure.
mistaken. And it was 2 hours of bands that we liked that never got radio airplay and never got played during the day on MTV. But on Sunday nights, we'll put them on. And I remember it was the world premiere from a band out of Seattle called Nirvana. And the video started, and all of us looked at each other like, what is this? And where can I get it?
Where do I get it? We need more of this in my life.
Yes. And I did this during a tribute to the exclusive company about a month ago when they announced they were shutting down. They had it the next day. I'm pretty sure they sold out the next day.
Sure they
because
did.
all of us went in there, we had to get our own version of the CD. You couldn't share. And then you went running back to your dorm and you listen to each track and it's like, oh, I can't believe how good this is. Oh, I can't believe how good this is. Now that is not an experience, and it's due partly to the iPod, which we're talking about in this segment. You do not have that communal experience of going down to get music together.
No, you don't.
Because it's you and your computer now.
Correct.
That's how you purchase your music for the vast majority of consumers. And you aren't really looking to buy a whole album and learning after you've purchased it what it sounds like.
So you're right. The whole term B-side is dead. What's on the B-side of that? B-side, what's the B-side? That was the other side of the hit. You get a 45. Remember, you get the 45, you had to have that little adapter.
Converter, yep, the adapter.
The little adapter. And you go and get an album and you would pull out the liner notes and you would open, like if it was a CD or a record, and you'd open it up and you'd see all the lyrics or all the artwork that would be included with it. That's kind of like a dying art too. That whole thing just died. I mean, I still have all my CDs and I've kept them just so if the CD police come and want to know where all my music came from, at least I can say, hey, here it is. But that took up a lot of shelf space. That's all I got to say. A lot of shelf space.
So with the introduction of iPod also came iTunes, because that was the way that you stored your computer stored your music on your computer. And now, as you mentioned, you organized it and put it onto the iPod. You could not literally take music and put it onto an iPod any other way. You had to go through your MacBook.
Correct. You had to
or your iMac.
That's correct. You would use the the tool, and sometimes you had more music than your storage device could have, so it would downsample it to put it on the storage device, or you could upload playlists or new music that you got, so you actually had to be tethered. It didn't happen on the fly, you had to be tethered. And then, you know, one of the innovations that they came up with, like Wi-Fi capabilities and the ability to, you know, automatically update on the fly.
Yep.
But yes, you use your Mac or your PC as a central clearinghouse, and then you would tether it with you would charge and then sync. That's where that term came from. Sync your iTunes library with your iPod itself.
So when iTunes rolled out, it was different in the way that you could buy each individual track from an album. You didn't have to buy the whole album. You could pay 99 cents and sometimes 49 cents or even less for some, you know, very old songs that were finally put up there. But it was no longer you needed to buy an album to get the hit. You could buy the hit by itself.
You could buy the hit by itself. There were some artists that wouldn't let you sell track by track. You had to get the whole album. Then there was like U2, where you got the iPod and the whole U2 album was on the iPod.
Turned out that wasn't very popular.
No, that wasn't very popular whatsoever. That was kind of a debacle. People would wake up and go, "Hey, where's all my space in my my iPod?" Oh, you got this free music that you didn't want.
Yeah, U2 is on there.
That's correct.
Not YouTube, U2. They were a band.
That's
Still
correct.
are, but
The Edge. We're just gonna start calling me The Edge. But, you know, we're going back to, you know, we're talking about now we've kind of made we've taken the music industry, put it on its head, and now you don't have to wait in line, you don't have to go get the album or the vinyl, you don't have to worry about if it's scratched. That whole licensing model is thrown on its head, because you say, I just bought Saturday Night Fever on 8-track, I have to pay the exact same price for it on a cassette. Wait a minute, I already own the license to it here. So the whole licensing thing, Steve Jobs really pushed people to the max there, and that whole licensing model was changed, and now I can just buy the good stuff that I want. I don't have to pay for the stuff I don't want. And I thought that was a very interesting way of doing it.
and that has now led to artists themselves not making the stuff you don't want.
Correct.
Where I will grant you, rock music, pop music, country as well, it's driven by singles and radio hits.
Correct.
Now it's driven by downloads and streams, but it's still the singular song.
Yeah, you don't have to sell that whole album. You don't know that the whole days of, we were talking about kind of like, you know, big albums that were the whole thing. I mean, there's, you know, Metallica has a whole album that you have to kind of listen front to back, a whole story. You know, Queen would have a story. You know, Beatles have stories. I think that whole genre is dead now. I don't think people have a whole album that tells a whole story.
Well, there's certainly not many theme albums, that's for sure. I think
Correct.
Green Day, remember American Idiot, was like a theme album. That's the last one I can think of. But what you also don't have is, okay, I bought this CD, cassette, album, 8-track, whatever, because of the one song in there that I hear on the radio and I like a lot. And then you listen to the whole thing and you realize, wow, there's like 4 other songs on here that I really like. They don't get airplay. Man, I'm glad I have these 4 songs. And there is not an artist or an album that I have on my iPod that is strictly a 1-track deal.
Right.
Which is why I download the whole album. Because I want all of that other stuff. Because I don't know what I'm missing. Some programmer here at the Radio Ranch is deciding what I get to hear in terms of hits and singles. Or
See,
some
I
A&R
can't do
guy
that. I can't
with the
suffer.
record
If
label.
it's a cruddy song, I'm a good fast forwarder or a backup. If I don't like it, I'm gonna fast forward, or I want to hear that other one over again. And sometimes I'll listen to great songs, but then I'm thankful for that fast forward button, because then I'll like fast forward, go to another one, just hear the best part of the song, and then I'm weird that way. I'm totally weird that way. Very rarely do I listen to a song all the way start to finish.
You mean an album?
Correct. No, just a song. Really give it a song. I'll be listening. I know. Should I just go now?
A 3.5 minute song is too long for Tommy. We just gotta zip right
I'm
through
not
that.
saying it was too long. It's just that I would think about, hey, what's the next song I want to hear? Dude, there we go. I know. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible human. I can't be
No, I'm
the
not
only
saying
one.
you're horrible. I'm just wondering, how you got to where you are in life by being just 12 years old.
I think that's what makes me great. It's because I am 12 years old. And you're not the first person to have accused me of being 12. My wife accuses me all the time. How 12 are you? She'll say that all the time.
Yep. So in my own household, we have the two different ways of listening and purchasing music. My wife buys singles. I buy albums. And when I listen to the album. She compiles I would offer that we don't have as much fluff anymore because artists just look for what can I get out there that is going to get the most downloads and streams.
Oh yeah, there's no
one is going to stream track 8 on my newest album, if you will.
Well, there's no reason for track 8 to even exist.
Yes.
If
there's no return on it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. It's not like you say, hey, I have 68 minutes worth of music I can put on this compact disc. I need to put something to fill space here. No, you no longer need to do that. Oh, that just reminds me of the Tubes album. When you get to the end of side 1, it tells you to turn it over to side 2.
Yes, it does.
There we go. I caught him. I caught you off guard. We
They don't have that on the digital track. Monty Python did that on one of their albums too.
Because you have to be instructed to switch it over.
Yeah. This is side 2. If you want to listen to side 1, turn over. This is side 2.
I mean, I even remember CDs like the Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, Frankie Goes to Hollywood album. They would list all the clicks that were in the master recording that didn't, because it wasn't a digital recording, it was an analog recording that they moved on to digital, and it actually had a list in the liner notes of all the clicks that were in the. Oh my gosh, this just goes way back, way back. But the iPod was a brilliant device, and going back to what we were previously saying, Microsoft tried to make a digital device. They had I think it was called a Zune.
Zune, yes, Z-U-N-E.
And it would turn into be a colossal failure, and they lost hundreds of millions of dollars on this device because it wasn't just the fact that it was a digital suitcase. It was the experience. And it was all about the experience, how you got the music on, how you took it off. There was some style to it. And so, Microsoft took a bath on it, and a lot of other companies could be argued as great devices, but at the end of the day, it wasn't the style and the ease of use that made the iPod what it was. And I think Apple, another beautiful thing is they kept iterating it. They made it smaller, they made it for joggers, they made solid state versions of it, and some people hate that, some people like it, but they really tried to make that a lifestyle device and not just a single purpose kind of thing. I mean, it was a single purpose, but it made it more of a lifestyle thing.
If we really wanted to go down the rabbit hole, I mean, there's some versions. They had the Nano, which held just a few songs.
Correct.
For those who only wanted to hear the hits of the hits.
And that's the Tom Clifford version. You can only
wear
hear
it like a
10
ring.
seconds of the hit.
Wear it like a ring on their finger instead of
Correct.
even something that fit in your pocket. And then also more addition of the video elements
A
that you
video
put on
iPod,
there.
that's
So
correct.
you could also watch TV shows, you could watch movies, you could watch your own videos or the music videos if you wanted to as well. Whereas for me, an iPod Classic user, I need all that space for my tunes.
Strictly music.
Yep.
Strictly music. And you hook up to a cord, it had the microphone, it had the headphone jack, and you were going to use it, and that's the way it was. It was just pure and crisp, and that's it. You didn't have any. I mean, how many hotel rooms still have iPod holders in like the alarm clock? The old. I mean, I'll still see them in hotels right now where they have the old 30-pin, because that's what you were talking about, the 30-pin dock connector. You can just drop your your old iPhone or iPod in there and just listen to music in your hotel room.
Let's just say hotel rooms aren't where I expect to find the latest in technology innovations.
Well, to be fair, a lot of them do. They have a lot of USB plug-ins. But they still have
30
phones.
years after we
How
needed
many
them.
people are still using phones in a hotel room, other than to call the front desk?
Front desk.
But you're not making any phone calls on there. Certainly, there's no revenue, and I don't even know if you turn on the TV. Hopefully, there's no movie revenue anymore on that either. You're not paying to watch movies in a hotel room.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about should you own your music or rent your music. That's next on Krause & Company.
I'm going to take you should own it.
Here in your community. That's why we're proud to sponsor the community events page at WHBY.com.
Always make sure to give me a few seconds to turn your mic off
Picnics and music events
before adding commentary, especially anything with profanity in it.
Vehicle is a big investment. Let Al Huss Auto and Truck.
Oh, I don't know what got me on the back of my neck. I know I had hit a shot from underneath the tree, and I literally had the tree branch on my head. And whatever was on the tree branch, I did slap something on the back of my neck. When I pulled it off, it was a big ant. But they just really bit the hell out of me.
Oh, yes, you did. You got a couple big bites back there.
Holiday lighting and annual flower planting.
So you know what that is? That's reason number 6,225 not to go golfing.
You mean not to go outside? Because it just as easily could have happened while I was riding my bike or hiking or...
Improve your home and yard with the landscape professionals, Lowney's Landscaping in Appleton.
Step into more cash.
Gardening.
From CoVantage Credit Union.
Trimming trees, planting trees.
Earn 2% APY for 11 months at CoVantage Credit Union. It's one more way you step into cash at CoVantage. A deposit certificate special of 2% APY for 11 months with only a $1,000 minimum deposit. An independent research firm called Callahan & Associates studied over 5,000 credit unions in the country, and they ranked CoVantage in the top 1% in the nation. The best of the best at providing financial value to you, our member owners. So if you want the best rates on your loans and the best rates on your deposits, come to the best of the best, CoVantage Credit Union, and earn 2% APY on this 11-month deposit certificate.
Whatever it is, probably laid eggs. Still be hatching out soon.
Deposit. You step into more cash at CoVantage Credit Union. See CoVantageCU.org for a branch near you. Federally insured by NCUA.
Make plans now to experience the Emprise Brew Mill in beautiful downtown Menasha. A true gastropub serving premium craft beers, ciders, and amazing food. Weekly specials along with a huge selection of beverages, delicious burgers, and appetizers. Emprise Brew Mill offers online ordering and curbside pickup. Check out the attic upstairs for your next event, along with their catering options. 200 Main Street in downtown Menasha. Make Emprise Brew Mill your next stop. Happy hour specials Wednesdays and Thursdays. Also, follow them on Facebook.
Hustle up, we've got 8 more floors to go before lunch.
Sarusha's window washing business is reaching new heights.
Wipe, and let's roll.
They need more certified cleaners to keep online reviews crystal clear.
Team, I know we're hustling, but watch for streets.
Yep, that's your main concern when you're in business, online reviews.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Greg, if I buy a Toro Time Cutter mower from Evergreen Power, do I get a free roller? You know, tell them how fast I mow the lawn.
That's a big no, Brian.
A Citizen's Watch?
Nope.
A Timex?
Brian, not even a Casio. But when you buy a Toro Time Cutter from Evergreen Power, you'll get more decks from 34 to 60 inches and
Ownership
Toro's
and
MyLife
access
suspension
and
system
access
for a
are
smooth
not
run.
exactly
Plus,
binary
every mower is
opposites.
backed by Evergreen Power's
Never really
professional
owned it.
service department and our money-back guarantee.
Toro
Because it's
and Evergreen
temporal.
Power. You can count on them.
So you own access for a time of your choosing.
The greenhouse is open. The greenhouse is open. What you shouting about over there, Mary? The greenhouse at East Hardware in Appleton is open. Yeah, I heard that too. And there are sales going on all the time. Yeah, and they have annuals, perennials, shrubs, veggies, and herbs. And don't forget, they have a variety of soils, fertilizers, and more dairy.
So be sure to visit your neighbors locally at
Ace Hardware of Appleton.
Krause & Company is brought to you by Hooper Law Office. Call Peter Harbach and Sarah Kahns at 920-250-9959 for your elder law and estate planning needs. Hooper Law Office, providing a pathway to your legacy. Sign up for their free weekly seminars via video conference at estateplanninglive.com. WHBY.com. Jonathan Krause, Tommy Clifford, addressing music this time around. That, by the way, was Fleetwood Mac and Landslide, excuse me. And now we're going to enter into the debate, which was something created not by the iPod so much, but by the iPhone and app makers, like and many of the streaming services that you have nowadays, including Apple Music.
Yes.
And the big question now becomes for today's consumers, are you better off buying and downloading your music, or are you better off just paying a streaming subscription service and having access to, in some ways, all music?
Right. Do you, I guess it's and as we started talking about it earlier, it's a quantity over quality discussion. I say, well, for the price of a Beatles album, I can own the whole anthology per month. But do you buy a new album every month? What are your purchasing habits? Do you like to explore new music? Because I can listen for $10 a month, I can listen to a lot of new things. I don't, but I could if I wanted to. Listen to a lot of new things, listen to one song. I don't have to have purchased that song to listen to it. Now, Apple allows you like a free preview of every song. You can listen to, I don't know, like a minute or 40 seconds of every song, kind of wet your whistle, if you will.
I don't know if they let you listen to the hook.
Probably not.
There's like one lyric you get to listen to, or one verse.
But I think at the end of the day, do you want to own your music, and do you really own it? When you download it, do you actually own it, quote unquote own it, or do you just own the rights to play it? And that's a very interesting, I'm sure this goes a little bit deeper, but gone are the days of going down to the store, picking up your cellophane wrapped Boston album, cracking it open, listening to that CD or album, whatever it is, and then putting it back on the shelf. That's not there anymore. You can do that, but you probably end up putting it in your computer, burning it, and then transferring it to a digital device to be able to listen to it. I mean, certainly you own that album, but what happens if it breaks? What happens if you lose it? You have to go buy it again. In a digital realm, you can just download it again. You do have kind of unlimited access to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Apple Music listener. I like it when I'm on the road. I like it when I fly because I can download the music I want to have. It goes right to my iPhone or my iPad. I connect to it. I can listen on the plane. Similar kind of like a Netflix model. I don't own anything. I own everything, and I can just pick and choose what I want to listen to, and that works very well for me and my family. However, I know there are people who say, I want to get this album, this album, this album, that's all I'm going to need, done. So my argument is, well, the amount of money you spent on those 3 albums, I could have like 3 or 4 months worth of unlimited music. Now, do I use that? That's the retort back. Are you actually listening to things that you wouldn't normally listen to? No, I am not. But what I am doing is I am able to, it gives me freedom of choice. I'm choosing not to, but I could if I wanted to.
So it's perceived freedom of choice.
Complete perception. It absolutely is.
The retort is that while you may have access to almost every artist's song in their catalog, most people will listen to the same handful of songs most of the time.
Correct.
And to actually have spent money on those once and to have them permanently, I know you have concerns about device breakage and having to re-download again, you weren't going to be listening to anything more than that anyway.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
And I'm sure you probably wonder, why would you want to have 18,000 songs on your iPod? Well, believe it or not, I more than likely listen to each of those songs at least once every couple of years.
Sure you do.
Going through each of the albums. And this is brought out in the numbers that the streaming services provide publicly. And I know there's a big controversy because the idea behind the streaming and subscription service for streaming is that it was going to be this huge windfall for smaller and independent artists, because now they didn't need to rely on major record labels signing them, recording them, promoting them, and getting them played on radio stations like we have down the hall here at the Radio Ranch.
Right.
It would go out onto the streaming service, and if it gets enough likes, boom, it's going to show up as a popular track, and people are going to download it, or stream it, excuse me, and they're going to add it to their favorite list, and the next thing you know, you're an underground star who's come out of nowhere. And then it turned out that after we had several years of these streaming and subscription services, the same 10% of artists who were the big money makers and the big hit makers through the standard way of making and selling music for decades, we're still getting 90% of the plays and revenue on all of the streaming services. There was no breakthrough. In fact, the only breakthrough artists were usually the ones who came up with very clever YouTube videos, and they went viral in that way, not so much on a streaming service itself. People will listen to what they like and only what they like. And the idea of doing the subscription service to where I have access to 50 million tracks, I don't need 50 million tracks on my iPod, because I know I'm not listening to 49.5 million of them.
But you do have like 18,000 songs, don't you? On your
I do.
18,000 songs. And didn't you tell me that once you made it a goal to listen to every song on it, just one right after the other?
It was actually before I got the iPod. I had to listen to each of my CDs and cassettes.
Oh,
that was my New Year's resolution. I'm going to listen to everything in order. So I started with ABBA and all the way down to ZZ Top. In order by artist and then release of artist album. And my wife hated it because that meant she got in the Jeep and I would be playing, you know, it might be Loverboy, and it'd be the B-side of Loverboy's third album.
Sure.
And why are we listening to this? Well, I'm listening to it because I set a goal. I'm going to listen to everything. And it took me over a year and a half to do it.
Oh my word. A year and a half.
Yes.
And
but I did not hear a repeated song for a year and a half.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. That's amazing. You know, some Jeff from Rochester, New York, he just texted me and he said, you know, people want to make their own radio station that they'll never play a commercial and only songs that they dearly love. That, you know, people who are digital downloaders can do that. But are you kind of unique in the fact that you're forcing yourselves to hear the songs that weren't necessarily popular? Are there a lot of people who are like you that want to listen to everything regardless of if it was popular or not?
There's enough of us. That's why artists are still putting out full albums and they haven't gone strictly, this is my new single, this is my new single, this is my new single.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. That does make sense. I can't do it though. If I know it's a horrible song, I just gotta fast forward through it. And sometimes if it's a good song, I gotta fast forward through it. I'll listen to the opening like 10 or 15 times, and just because I just love the drums in the opener or something. The Trooper, Iron Maiden, that opener is just magic, and I could listen to it over and over and over. That's one of my new loves right now.
One of the questions I have is, do artists do exclusive deals with some streaming services, or do they pretty much make it available? I guess I shouldn't even say artists. I should say the record labels. Do they make exclusive deals, or is something on Apple Music, on Pandora, on whatever any of the other streaming services are we going to find basically the same catalog of songs, or are there exclusives? Because that's a situation where cord cutters are running into, where they thought, well, I'm just going to get subscription streaming services. And then they find out that they have to buy 5 different subscriptions every month to see the 5 different shows that they wanted.
Well, I know that there was people like, you know, for instance, Neil Young wanted to pull his music from Spotify.
Yes.
So I know that there are, which is kind of funny because he didn't actually own the music, and that was a whole separate issue. But the answer is there is some exclusive deals, but you also hear in the news of people who were pulling their music or moving their music. Because like for the longest time, the Beatles albums, you couldn't get them on iTunes.
Correct.
You could not get the Beatles albums on iTunes. And I'm sure there's other artists that are like that.
Prince for a long time. There was no streaming of Prince. You bought Prince.
That's right.
You didn't rent him.
You bought Prince. Oh my gosh, what an amazing artist.
And there's another guy. Just imagine if he had come out in the digital era and just put out only his singles. That
You're
was
right.
it.
I mean,
it would be spectacular, but there's so many deep tracks that are like, wow, did you hear the guitar part on this song? We'd miss out on that.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of great music that people would have totally missed out on because they didn't listen to the B-sides. And you're right, Prince is one. I mean, Prince had so many gems. Now Prince is very, very unique. There's a lot of people who didn't have gems, but I'm sure, I mean, I'd be interested to see what's the most famous B-side. That's kind of would be a humorous little Google if I had like internet capabilities.
The Beatles had several A and B sides go number one. Both sides of a single reached number one.
See, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
That's totally remarkable. Well, the Beatles are remarkable. That's all I gotta say.
Music was a little bit different back then, though.
Music was a lot different there. It's a good chat. I like talking about this.
Yeah, but for me, it is just the idea of I'm going to rent my music just baffles me.
Right. No, you're absolutely correct. But you're renting a lot of things too. I mean, you're renting your TV shows. You're renting your movies. I mean, gone are the days of being able to buy your. I mean, yes, you can buy a movie, but I'm not one of those people who buys a movie and watches it over and over and over again. If I see it on TV again, like A Christmas Story, I'll watch it because it's funny, or A Few Good Men, or Fletch. There's a couple things that I'll just happen to get drawn to, but I don't want to have like a whole case full of CD or DVDs and VHSs. Oh my gosh, VHS, hello Blockbuster, just so I can watch it again. If I'm gonna buy a movie, I'll usually just rent it for 48 hours and then be done with it. Do you rent movies? Are you a movie renter?
No, because not a lot of movies have come out that I want to see.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like I have an associate here at work has provided me with their username and password for Disney Plus, so I can watch the Beatles documentary. I haven't watched it yet. It's been out for how long? Since Thanksgiving. I'm a huge Beatles fan, but I don't have 6 hours to sit in front of
Why do
the
you have to
screen
do it all
and
at
watch
once?
it.
Why do you have to do it at one? Why does it have to be one sitting? Can't you like break it up into little bite-sized pieces?
No, because that's the way I watch TV.
See, you'd hate me because like last night I'm in the middle of like Ozark episode 9 and there's like 7 minutes left and I go, okay, I want to go to bed, and I turn it off. I know. That's just the way I am. I'll just come back to it and I'll pick up back up just before someone gets shot in the head, and that'll be the end of it.
So you must really, that's the other thing. People must have really hated going to theaters because you couldn't pause the movie and take a call or
Correct.
run to the bathroom. The movie kept playing. So you had to stay there and watch
exactly
the whole
right.
movie in one sitting. Or
Exactly
buy a
right.
ticket and watch it again.
That's true. No, you're right. You're using the media the way it was invented to be used.
Yes.
When other people come up with different ideas, then I get it. I totally get it.
Short attention spans, that's all. Let's take a break. Top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to talk about what is happening with Elon Musk and his Twitter takeover. That's hit a snag, apparently, and I don't see how the snag gets undone. That's next on Krause & Company.
The cost of goods and services has surged to levels we haven't seen in 40 years, and inflation has become widespread. So what does that mean for your retirement? Do you have to put it off, work longer, or save more?
What time do we
Hi,
come
this
back?
is Sam Duell with Duell Financial
We come back at
Strategies.
10:08.
While it's true we're seeing record high levels of inflation, this isn't a new
WHBY,
problem
this is
for
Jonathan.
retirees, which is why I design plans for an increasing income. If you're not getting enough of a pay raise from your portfolio, give us a call at 920.
You know what? I did not have a chance. They gave us like 5 or 6 days notice, and then one of the guys from the WHBY went down there, and he said the inventory was pretty picked over already by that point.
920-832-3720. Or visit us online at dualstrategies.com
Oh, yeah.
and get a plan that can keep up with the times.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new
I believe it.
treatments available. And we're not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals.
Yeah, it is. All right, I appreciate you giving me the call.
Kinetics is the leader in these
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. QC Kinetics has over 100 clinics nationwide and has treated thousands of patients with an incredible success and satisfaction rate. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that just won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, no surgery. Call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 920-944-8811. You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 920-944-8811. That's 920-944-8811.
Breaking news can happen in all corners of the world or right down the street. With CBS Radio News and the WHBY News crew, we're on it 24/7.
Yeah, how do you put a bid on hold?
Do
That
you
doesn't
want
make
to
any sense
protect
to
your
me.
family? You want to maintain control of your health and finances? Join the attorneys at Hooper Law Office for a free, interactive educational webinar series from the comfort of your home. Inspired by their popular Wills versus Trust seminars, this series gives participants the opportunity to ask questions and learn about the aspects of estate planning and long-term care planning that they're most interested in. The next session will take place at noon on Wednesday, May 18th. The topic of this session is what every personal representative needs to know navigating probate and estate settlement. Register at estateplannинglive.com. All registered participants will receive complimentary educational materials and have an opportunity to ask questions during the session. Register today. The first 50 registrants will receive a free copy of Hooper Law Office's book, Your Life, Your Legacy 2, Probate and Trust Settlement. Register today at estateplannинglive.com.
A friendly smile and a gentle touch.
Just so good.
It's Haley 10 Pass and Focus Fox Valley. Join her weekdays from 11 to 1 on WHBY, real local radio.
There are many unique museums all around our country, and the stories behind how they got started are typically just as interesting. You'll meet a woman named Nancy 3, who founded the world's only umbrella cover museum. You'll meet another wonderful young woman named Fawn Weaver.
The
who grew up
Umbrella
to
Cover
Motown
Museum.
Record royalty, about her journey and the lessons
It's right
she
up there
learned
with the
along way.
Mustard
These
Museum.
stories and more on the next Our American Stories.
Tonight, following the Brewers and Braves here on WHBY.
Weekdays from 11 to 1. It's Haley time with Focus Fox Valley and Haley 10 Pass. Weekdays on WHBY, Kimberly, Appleton, Oshkosh.
I'm Steve Dorsey, traveling with the President in Buffalo. The President and First Lady paid tribute to the victims of Saturday's attack at the Tops
100,000 websites
supermarket
collect
here
everything
by visiting a makeshift
Isn't that
memorial
great?
set up outside the store. At the pile of balloons, candles, and flowers, the
Oh yeah, there's
President
websites
quietly put
that
his hand over
your
his
credit
heart
card is being
and then
checked
made the
before you
sign
even
of the
hit
cross.
enter.
The couple
As
then
it's,
stepped
as the
back
number's
as
being
a
typed
group,
in,
including New
it's
York
being
Senator
validated
Chuck
and
Schumer,
verified.
laid a bouquet of flowers at the site.
I'm Steve Kathan. The FDA has just authorized Pfizer COVID vaccine booster shots for kids 5 to 11. The CDC is expected to okay that later on this week. It's primary day in 5 states. CBS's Robert Costa is covering the Republican Senate race.
All right,
in
I'm gonna get on the soda.
Pennsylvania, featuring a TV personality endorsed by former President Trump.
Polls show Dr. Oz out in front, but Kathy Barnett is now surging, with some conservatives who don't buy that Oz is one of them. Retired financial executive David McCormick is also in the hunt, and many voters told us they remain undecided.
I'm Jim Crisul in Oak Ridge, North Carolina.
We came first thing this morning, so we thought maybe we'd avoid the crowds.
Voters here will select Democratic and Republican nominees for the U.S. Senate seat of Republican Richard Burr, who is retiring. Controversial Republican Congressman Madison Cawthorn is facing 7 challengers.
Latest government reading on the economy out today. Retail sales rose nearly a full percentage point last month. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
These numbers, they're not adjusted for inflation. So essentially, a big reason that we are spending more money is because prices are rising.
AAA says gas prices are still rising, up 4 cents to a new record high, a national average of $4.52 a gallon. And the association says it expects more than 39 million people to travel 50 miles or more for the Memorial Day holiday. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby tells CBS Mornings he's dealing with staff shortages as flyers cope with higher prices.
We're not flying as big a schedule as we were before COVID. We're about 13% smaller than we were. That really is about prioritizing operating reliability for customers over the possibility of short-term profit.
A group of black high school students suspended for trying to protest Confederate flag displays on their Georgia campus outside Atlanta is now suing the school district. We may call them UFOs, but the government moniker is Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAP.
Because UAPs pose potential flight safety and drone security risk, we are committed
drone security
effort to determine their origins.
Defense Undersecretary Ronald Moultrie before Congress this morning. The Dow is up 180. This is CBS News.
If you ever want to have a good time, bring up drones at EAA AirVenture.
Under the sun.
The pilots hate them.
Weekdays on CBS.
Of course they do, because there's probably a lot of idiots who are using them that shouldn't be using them.
Yes.
Be causing all kinds of problems.
You could go mountain climbing
And
on
then
all these boxes.
the other thing is
So
EAA
his household stuff,
brought in
those
a
are
drone
birthday
area now
presents, Sparky's toys,
because they
Sparky's
realize
food, Halloween
that
stuff,
is how
4th of
kids want to get
July,
into aviation.
Groundhog
They
Day.
want to fly drones, they don't want to fly
It's a
planes.
gateway drug.
Why are you doing this?
Not even.
No.
You don't think so?
Once I got
No.
started, it was
It's
hard to
two
stop.
totally different mindsets.
Hang on, I got a sign for that. That must be
Because
the chicken.
there is nothing you can fly that performs like a drone.
Can get out of control. Gambling,
When you think
for
about it.
example.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you
I mean,
can
And
set
there's
a
zero
goal
danger
against
to yourself
your
because you're just standing on the ground, unless you somehow
can't,
flew your drone into
troubles
yourself.
can begin to pile up. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem,
No, I agree with
It's
that.
risk aversion
Gamble 5
in today's generation.
850-888-HOPE or visit WI-
Wow, why would I want to
Gamble responsibly.
learn how to
Everyone's a winner.
whatever when I can just do it in a video game sitting right here with no risk of injury? That's why more people play Madden than go out for high school football anymore.
WHBY News, I'm Terry Valari. The fire danger across most of Wisconsin is now very high.
I've gone on rants that someday it'll get to the point where, we've got esports and you've got people who play Madden professionally.
And a lack of rain in much
The disconnect here is that you still need to have professional football players to have Madden. Otherwise, you're just making up players in a video game. These are ostensibly based on the talents of actual people.
Available to Oconto County residents following last week's storms and flooding. The kits will be distributed today from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Spruce Town Hall. Kits are recommended for residents with standing water in their yards. They will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis, and one kit will be provided per address. A limited number of kits will also be distributed tomorrow morning from 7 to 9 a.m. at the Oconto County Courthouse. An Appleton police officer is recognized for his life-saving skills. Officer Payne Hughes received a rare life-saving medal at an award ceremony Monday night. That was for his actions that saved the life of a man who had been stabbed in the neck. Officer Hughes credits the training he and other officers received by their department.
It was nice that I work for an agency that gives us so much training. I just fell back on what I've been taught previously. It was nice to see it persist.
Officer Hughes was among 10 officers honored at that ceremony. And Camping World breaks ground on its new store in Oshkosh. The recreational vehicle dealer is building along South Washburn Street, adjacent to Ford Park Live. Camping World should open in 2023. Your first alert forecast from Action 2 News is just ahead. WHBY News is sponsored by Hooper Law Office.
Do you want to protect your family? Do you want to maintain control of your health and finances? Join the attorneys at Hooper Law Office for a free, interactive educational webinar series from the comfort of your home. Inspired by the popular Wills versus Trust seminars, this series gives participants the opportunity to ask questions and learn about the aspects of estate planning and long-term care planning that they're most interested in. The next session will take place at noon on Wednesday, May 18th. The topic of this session is what every personal representative needs to know, navigating probate and estate settlement. Register at estateplannинglive.com. All registered participants will receive complimentary educational materials and have an opportunity to ask questions during the session. Register today. The first 50 registrants will receive a free.
When it comes to a school board meeting to read her daughter's assignment that was given to her, and they cut her off because it contained profanity and inappropriate content.
Oh, gee.
And we're not going to have that in our meetings.
Most people who have CPAP machines, there are other options that they never heard about. And that's not right. Maybe you're just not a big fan of the machine and the mask and that whole setup, and maybe you'd rather have an appliance that you wear in your mouth or some other solution that's there. Maybe if you actually had a choice in the matter, you would be where you want to be. Unfortunately, most folks get plugged into the wrong places. Most folks get plugged into places that have one option, and don't be surprised if you get plugged into a place that has one option, that's the option that you're going to get, whether you like it or not. You know, that meant having all effective options for folks who suffer with these issues is everything. Meaning we can find the right combination of things that work for
My
you.
CPAP mask app tells me I'm doing a great job.
It's taking.
Do you have like one of those CPAP cleaners that cleans out all your?
No. In fact, if I was using that, it would void the warranty that Aurora at Home provides, because it uses ozone to clean, and that destroys some of the materials that are used in the mask.
Yesterday, a high of 68 degrees, morning sunshine, then increasing afternoon clouds. Tonight, mostly cloudy, not too much wind, a low 48, with showers developing into tomorrow morning. Overcast Wednesday, cool and damp, a high of 59.
Thanks, Steve. Right now, it's mostly sunny and 57 at the Myron Construction Studio of WHBY.
Better, shift smoother, and give you more miles of smiles. Get the right bike that lasts from Wheel and Sprocket in Oshkosh and Appleton.
Yeah, I find this interesting. You sent me this link from macrumors.com.
Yeah.
And at the end, did you see the note? Due to the political or social nature of the discussion regarding this topic, the discussion thread is located on our political news forum. All forum members and site visitors are welcome to read and follow the thread, but posting it is limited to forum members with at least 100 posts.
So they're trying to keep people from just like basically pumping and dumping. You can't just go there and not be a regular and just leave a junky comment.
Politics here.
That's all we have. You should have been here yesterday when I was talking with the guy from the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council about a Dane County judge who isn't allowing live streaming of a double murder case involving well-known people from UW-Madison as victims and a black suspect, because there was a live streamed court hearing in Dane County a couple weeks ago that led to people saying a lot of mean things in the comments. Mean. Krause & Company is brought to you by Hooper Law Office. Find their offices in Appleton, Green Bay, and Oshkosh, or online at hooperlawoffice.com for your elder law and estate planning needs. Hooper Law Office, providing a pathway to your legacy. Jonathan Krause, Tommy Clifford with you today in the Myron Construction Studio. Tuesdays with Tommy. And we're actually going to switch away from music storage and playback now and jump back into social media, where the full speed ahead Elon Musk takeover of Twitter has hit a bit of a roadblock.
Little snag going on
What's
right
going on?
now. He basically wants the CEO to prove that there's not more than 5% of the Twitter accounts are fake. So he says, I'm still committed to this, which is interesting, but yet he wants proof that not more than 5% of the Twitter accounts, and he thinks that the value of Twitter will go down, which he's probably right. I mean, if they can start proving that there's a high percentage of fake Twitter accounts, and of course there's all kinds of different like website testers and things that you can use to see, is my account real, or how many fake accounts do I have? But that's a big deal. That's a very interesting thing. I kind of would have thought about that before I put $44 billion on the line and got the stock and got everybody inside Twitter all jacked up over this, but he didn't. That's a decision that he made after the fact, and so now it's going to be interesting to see where this goes.
Let's put this in perspective. Twitter, according to a report on Reuters, has 229 million users who were served advertising in the first quarter. And that is the key, because Twitter is a free app, free to download, free to use. So it is the selling of advertising to its users.
Yes.
Where it retains all of its value. If 5% of those are fake, that is 11,450,000 fake accounts.
Right.
To which you are telling an advertiser, I'm putting your message in front of these people, except they don't exist. 11.45 million fake accounts. By
Humongous.
a conservative estimate, 11,450,000 fake accounts.
And that, you know, if you're an advertiser, you would feel that you're being robbed because of that.
Certainly.
And I mean, Elon's got every right to ask the questions, how many fake Twitter accounts do you have? There's a really great website called followeraudit.com. I'm going to do this on mine and see what happens here.
I'm sure I've got more than a few on mine, based on some of the responses I get. Hey, check out my website. Boop.
Right.
Bot.
Right. A bot. So it's auditing. So right now it's auditing me. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how that goes here. But it's very interesting, and you know, the value of Twitter is the interaction and the messaging. Having all those fake bots, that's not what we want. We don't want all those people just all, you know, it's like your computer's taking over and you're just like, you know, spamming somebody. That's just spam garbage.
The question becomes, if Twitter knows that about 5% of the accounts are fake, why aren't they disabling those fake accounts?
It's a great question.
Because someone has to basically report an account to Twitter before they're going to take any action against it.
Right. They have to report it. You know, Twitter should be able to, I mean, they know if you do spammy robot type actions, you copy and paste the same tweet over and over, you follow people in mass formats. I mean, that they know robotic type of movements or online actions. They should be able to take care of that by itself. That should be that problem should solve itself. Should.
All they have to do is go to any trending Twitter topic post and look at all of the posts that are put underneath it, and they're usually the ones offering financial assistance, or I can't believe how much I made on this crypto form, or hey everybody, check out my OnlyFans account, because like when the New York Times has a very popular Twitter post, you get 5 people who are making serious comments and snarky comments, but you can tell they're real people. And then it's followed by a long litany of people who want you to click through to another website.
Right. No, absolutely. There's all these people do this too. Like YouTube is famous for the horrible comments, all the spam, you know, people who look like your, you know, Doug DeMuro or your famous YouTube person, but that's really just garbage. Doug DeMuro, who's a big car guy. Do you not follow Doug DeMuro on YouTube?
He must not be that big then.
Or he must be bigger than you think.
Yeah. That's like somebody said, oh, hey, did you know you can get Mr. Beast burgers in Oshkosh now? And I said, I've never heard of the place. And oh, no, it's not a place. It's a guy. He's on YouTube. He does all these like eating challenges. He's Mr. Beast. Like, nope, never heard of him.
We love Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is awesome. Well, you need to spend more time on YouTube. If you were a big car guy, if you were a big Jeep guy,
on YouTube. I know who Rick Beato is.
Who's that?
See?
Who is he?
He's a music producer who has a series called What Makes This Song Great. And then he literally breaks down each musical track, instrument by instrument, the construction, the beat, the way the lyrics interact with the beat and the rhythm.
I bet it's a great video. I love those people who do like things like behind the music, what made the song, why was it done, that kind of stuff. I enjoy that. But if you're a car guy, Doug DeMuro, you got to listen to him. That's what he interviews. He's got all the latest and greatest on vehicles. That's the guy. But we digress. Twitter, it's kind of a train wreck because now everything that Elon is saying, the stock price is going up and down based on what he says. Now,
Yes.
granted, he's controlled cryptocurrency. He's controlled different things. But I think that he needs to make up his mind and figure this out. I mean, is Twitter going to have more than 5% spam accounts? I bet you it is. I really bet it is.
I'd be willing to bet it's closer to 20.
Oh, it could be higher. It could be higher than that. It really could be. I mean, if people say, well, Twitter was influenced an election and there's all kinds of Russian bots and different things. This is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. See how that is handled. And I think I think it'll still go through. I really do. I think it'll still go through, but I think that this is going to adversely affect the purchase price of Twitter and what Elon Musk is going to pay for Twitter. That's what I think is going to happen here. I think it's kind of going to turn into a train wreck, to be honest with you.
And I'm sure a lot of the blame is going to fall on Elon himself, but no one goes into a transaction of this size blind, not knowing what your actual customer base is.
Well, you'd think that at some point you would, and now of course there's a whole, now we're in the big disclosure phase, and there's probably things he didn't have access to previously, and now that he does, but you're right. He knew what he was getting himself into. He had to have known. He's a very, very, very smart boy. He knew. He had his big boy pants on. You don't throw $44 billion on the line and not have smart people in your room. So you would hope they would have asked questions like that before putting pen to the paper, but I can't say for sure.
You missed it yesterday. We had a wonderful conversation leading off the show with Bill Leaders from the Wisconsin Freedom of Information Council. This is, by the way, a totally different subject, but still tied to a social media aspect. And that is a high-profile double murder case in Dane County has effectively been closed off to electronic media. There will be no video cameras permitted in there to shoot video. There will be no live streaming of the court proceedings, as has become fairly customary for high-profile court cases. And those of us in radio are not allowed to record any of the testimony or comments from attorneys during the trial. Everything will have to be written down. And the Dane County judge who issued this ruling based it on the fact that there was another live stream of a Dane County court hearing, and people said a lot of mean things in the comments.
Very mean things.
Yes.
I mean, think about this. Think about how our recollection and the feedback from the OJ case would have been different if it wasn't broadcast on TV.
Or Kyle Rittenhouse.
Correct. How much information, how, every word is dissected. I mean, heaven knows, there's political channels, there's courtroom TV that does nothing more than have talking heads dissect word for word a court case.
The perfect example, if you want to do the OJ case, obviously, I think what swayed the jury the most was the horrible decision to have OJ try on the gloves.
Right.
And he played it up for effect so well. The struggling to get the gloves on.
Absolutely.
Literally saying they don't fit.
If it doesn't fit,
right in front of the jury.
Quit. Oh, absolutely. That was a banner moment in that case.
Okay, so we saw that just like the jury saw that.
Yep.
In this case, in Dane County, the only thing you would have had would be a reporter standing up outside of the courthouse for a TV shot, or me saying it verbally here on the radio, or a print reporter writing it down. OJ attempted to put on the gloves, but they didn't fit. Does not nearly have the same effect as visually seeing and hearing what happened the same way the jury saw and heard it. And that's why we push for access to the courts.
That's exactly right. And then you wouldn't even have the imagery. You would have just had a charcoal sketch.
Yeah.
Of OJ trying to put the glove on. You would have missed the emotion. Yep. You would have missed the.
You would have had to create it in your
pauses. Exactly right. You would have had to have come up with all this stuff. You would have missed, Marsha Clark and all these personalities coming together to make this product.
Okay, we didn't need the personalities. I am talking about the actual, literal evidence and testimony presented.
No, but when I meant with personalities, is part of the evidence is the delivery.
Absolutely.
I mean, just like the glove, and that's kind of what I meant by the personality. You know, OJ struggling to put it on, and then you get in the closing. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. I mean, the theatrics in its own. I mean, that was a Broadway play of immense proportion, put on for millions and millions of people. I know exactly where I was when that acquittal happened. I know exactly where I was. I remember where I was when he was driving the Bronco.
Watching the NBA Finals, or trying to.
And so I was in Salt Lake City, Utah, working at the time, and so and because a case isn't live streamed, I mean, I don't think that's a make or break moment, but because people said mean things, if you're gonna judge what you do based on people saying mean stuff, then you should just go outside, pick up your Girl Scout cookies that got delivered because they wouldn't knock at the door, and then just go eat your Girl Scout cookies and be done with it. You can't do anything if you're saying, I don't want to do anything if people are going to say mean things.
Safe spaces, Tommy. Safe spaces.
Oh, I need a safe space. It's almost time for a commercial. I need a safe commercial.
Unfortunately, the show is not a safe space for Tommy.
No hiding for anybody.
When we come back, as if you needed something more to worry about, apparently there are websites that know everything you've ever typed into your computer. That's next on Krause & Company.
Switch's window washing business is reaching new heights. They need more certified cleaners to keep online reviews crystal clear.
Team, I know we're hustling, but watch for streaks. Candace, can you give me a hand over here?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Adam Lansdorf, and I am the chief lending officer at
I have a
Fox
very
News.
high bot score,
Home values
or
have
very
really
low bot score.
skyrocketed, and it would just make sense that now would be the time to take a look at your home equity. Having a home equity line in place will always be there for you in case of the rainy day, or you want to start up that business, or purchase that car that you never thought was going to come for sale. To be able to have that security blanket is really critical in someone's life cycle.
Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. That symphony of engines roaring in perfect harmony. It's a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, Jerry.
The New York Stock Exchange was created on this day 230 years ago.
Oh, my word. Really, really terrible. Is that a glockenspiel, Jerry? Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. No, Jerry. It's over.
Greg, if I buy a total time cutter mower from Evergreen Power, do I get a free Rolex? You know, to time how fast I mow the lawn.
That's a big no, Brian.
A Citizen's watch?
Nope.
A Timex?
Brian, not even a Casio. But when you buy a Toro time cutter from Evergreen Power, you'll get more decks from 34 to 60 inches and Toro's My Ride suspension system for a smooth ride. Plus, your new mower is backed by Evergreen Power's professional service department and our money-back guarantee.
Toro and Evergreen Power. You can count on them. Highway 41 and in Little Shoe.
The Cellar in Oshkosh offers everything you need to make beer, wine, cider, mead, and spirits. Stop in and learn from the experts. The Cellar offers homebrew ingredients like yeast, grains, hops, honey, puree, and juice, along with kits to make, bottle, and put on tap all your favorite beverages. Need help? They have a large selection of how-to
There's a
books.
submit
They
button. There's
also
a reasonable
offer gift
expectation
certificates.
that
The
actually
Cellar
does
at
something.
465 North Washburn on the Frontage Road in Oshkosh. For hours to order online and for curbside pickup, visit thecellarhomebrew.com.
The war in Ukraine poses an immediate threat to children. They need help and protection. They need supplies. They need access to basic social services like health and education. They need hope for the future. But above all, children need peace. UNICEF is working with partners to reach vulnerable children and families with essential services and life-saving supplies. UNICEF is committed to stay and deliver, but they need your support. Donate now at unicef.org. For more information on ways to support Ukraine, visit WHBY.com.
Be part of the world's greatest aviation celebration. EAA is looking for
What time you come
individuals to
back?
help fill more than
We're back after this one.
positions for the week of EAA AirVenture Oshkosh, July 25th through 31st.
Gonna be a
Earn
short
extra
segment
cash
here, so I
using
see
existing
track
skills or
my
learn some new ones. Flexible scheduling options.
And then
allow you to enjoy the show as both a visitor
the last
and a
full segment we
Ages
have is going to
14
be
and up are
about
eligible to apply
how
for
the
positions that
PGA
include
Championship is
retail,
not what it was
security,
originally
and
scheduled.
parking. For more information, visit EAA.org.
Okay, I'll guide me through that one as not being a PGA championship expert.
It's time to go cow tipping with Nema's Southside Market and WHBY. It's your chance to win a quarter cow cuts of beef. Head to WHBY.com to find the moo cow grazing somewhere on our website. Click the cow and enter to win. Come back daily to see where the cow is grazing next for your additional chances to win. And I'm allowed to give you a hint here today. Today is where you might go to, back some people who are fighting an invasion right now. That's on WHBY.com. Again, helping people who are fighting off an invasion. Tomorrow, it's the coolest page on the website. Tomorrow, though. Not today, tomorrow.
The coolest page on the website.
The absolute best one. The only one you need to visit. That's Nema's Southside Market and Cow Tippin' with WHBY.com. Tommy Clifford is joining us here today, and you have sent off something that should keep all you internet users awake at night, that there are some 100,000 websites that collect everything you type before you hit submit.
Isn't that horrific? Absolutely horrific. I had heard about websites that you start plugging in your credit card and they automatically start validating it before it finishes. I mean, certainly there's always a checksum in the credit card number. They know that the 5 means MasterCard, 4 means Visa, all the way through. But they can know before you hit submit whether you have the funds in the credit card, because they'll actually run a hit on your account before you actually hit submit. And if you start typing passwords, they know whether that password is right or wrong before you hit submit. This is really, really interesting. And marketers will follow everything that you do. They know where they run heat maps, so they know where you're looking on the page, where your eyeballs are. They know what size the headlines to do. They're doing all kinds of A/B testing. But this takes it to a whole different level. They're collecting information from you that you didn't even hit submit. So it almost like makes that submit button kind of useless.
To me, it almost sounds like malware, where you have stuff that scammers can put on your computer that track all of your keystrokes.
Well, and it's in a way.
But these are site specific.
Correct.
Is what we're talking about.
In a way, it very much is. You go to an Amazon webpage and you start typing something. I mean, it's like in Google, when you start typing a word and it does the autocomplete, where it'll give you suggestions based on what you type. That's something that you haven't even hit return on, and it already knows. It knows what you're thinking. It knows what you want, or it's helping you fine tune what you want to think. And so these websites, you'll start, you're right, it's almost like there's a keylogger going on. It's watching what I'm doing, and it's not just watching what you're doing, it's predicting what's happening. It's trying to make the experience better or faster, so that when you actually do hit submit, it's already sent and got feedback on your credit card before you even did it.
Researchers from a couple of universities in Europe, crawled and analyzed the top 100,000 websites, looking at scenarios in which a user is visiting a site while in the European Union and visiting a site from the United States. They found that 1,844 websites gathered an EU user's email address without their consent, and a staggering 2,950 logged a US user's email in some form. Many of the sites seemingly do not intend to conduct the data logging, but they incorporate third-party marketing and analytics services that cause that behavior.
This is a big deal. There's a lot of, European Union has all types of data protections in place so that this doesn't happen. So that's a big deal. Every one of those, 1900 or 1800 odd websites, that's in violation. You didn't give them, yes, you started typing it, but they're taking it before it's finished. That's not, if you don't give consent, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And I think they have rooms to be crabby about that.
And this is even more disturbing. The group also had a discovery about Metapixel and TikTok Pixel, invisible marketing trackers that services embed on their websites to track users across the web and show them ads. Both claimed in their documentation that customers could turn on automatic advanced matching, which would trigger data collection when a user submitted a form. In practice, though, the researchers found that these tracking pixels were grabbing hashed email addresses, an obscure version of email addresses used to identify web users across platforms, before any submission was made. For US users, 8,438 sites may have been leaking data to Meta, the Facebook parent company, through pixels, and 7,379 sites may be impacted for EU users. For TikTok Pixel, the group found 154 sites for US users and 147 for EU users who are collecting data even if you don't submit it.
That's correct. You go to, have you ever gone to pick up that new golf bag at Golf Galaxy and you leave it sitting in your cart and then you leave and go to another website, you go to read the USA Today and you go, no way, there's my golf bag.
Yes.
There's an ad for my golf bag.
Yep.
That's the Facebook Pixel. It put a little piece of code there that says, hey, Mr. John went to purchase this, now let's taunt him with it. Let's dangle that carrot. Let's go to, so if you go look for that pair of shoes on Amazon or that new MacBook Pro, they will keep taunting you until you purchase it.
They continue to remind you of your purchase after you have purchased it.
Correct.
Because that bag that you were talking about, I still get ads for it.
Well,
even though I ended up buying it.
So you bought the
I
bag,
bought it in
but you
store, I didn't buy it online.
You probably need a new driver to go along with it. I mean, you need to put stuff in your bag. You need a new pair of shoes.
Yes.
You need a new, whatever it happens to be, whatever golf people need in their life. That's new Titleist, whatever. Yeah. You need more swag.
So now we've pretty much made it to where everyone is completely paralyzed with fear of typing anything into any website now. Good job, Tommy.
I know. I apologize, but it's true. This is the truth. This is what's happening. If you don't want to be tracked, then get just get a feature phone and don't turn on the internet. That's all you got to say.
Let's take another break. When we come back, I'm going to explain why the PGA Championship this year is not being held where it was supposed to be held.
Oh, this will be
and
interesting.
the long and winding road that got it to its new location. That's next on Krause & Company.
To make your home feel fresh and clean than by having the carpets cleaned by Holiday Carpet Cleaning. 35 years of experience and locally owned and operated. Holiday's newest technology cleans better and dries faster. Right now, 2 rooms are just $79.88. It's more than carpets. Holiday cleans tile and grout, kitchen, dining, and sunrooms, along with entryways and halls. To get more information and book your cleaning, call 733-2294 or visit holidaycleaningservices.com today.
Hustle up, we've got 8 more floors to go before lunch.
Sarusha's window washing business is reaching new heights.
Wipe and let pro.
They need more certified cleaners to keep online reviews crystal clear.
Team, I know we're hustling, but watch for streets. Candace, can you give me a hand over here?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
What? Another delivery? Marvin, you could go mountain climbing on all these boxes. What are you buying?
Okay, so that stack is household stuff. Those are birthday presents, Sparky's toys, Sparky's food, Halloween stuff, 4th of July, Groundhog Day.
Wait a minute,
From
Groundhog Day?
what you're talking about is one
Why
step
are you
from reading
doing
your
this?
mind.
I don't know. Once I got started, it was hard to stop. Hang on, I got a sign for that. That must be the chickens.
Even good things can get out of control. Gambling, for example. If you can set affordable limits and stick to them, it's harmless entertainment. If you can't, troubles can begin to pile up. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, we can help. Call 800-GAMBLE-5. Text us at 850-888-HOPE or visit wi-problemgamblers.org. Gamble responsibly, and everyone's a winner. A message from the Wisconsin Lottery.
Like it or not, you are a media-consuming machine, chased all day by headlines, texts, emails, on the TV, the computer, the phone, even your smartwatch. News about market volatility and uncertainty could lead to anxiety and planning paralysis. No surprise, Americans report increased stress about their investment and retirement plans. This isn't a time to be frozen in place. Take action. Put Annex Wealth Management on your side. Build a plan that will help cut through the noise. We'll provide comprehensive investment and retirement guidance that includes tax and estate planning. Let Annex do a deep dive on your portfolio. Offer unbiased advice with Wealth Metric and work to create a solid plan for you and your family. Turn down the media roar. Dial up the planning. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button. It only takes a couple of minutes, in person or online. It's time to take action and know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management. AnnexWealth.com.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. That symphony of engines roaring in perfect harmony. It's a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now.
So what golf course we got the PGA this year?
Southern Hills in Tulsa, which is ironical as they were previously on the Golf World's shit list because they weren't allowing black members until the 1980s.
So they reformed.
To hire can be like, well, trying to find.
Well, hold on. When did
Formed back in the 20s,
with ZipRecruiter?
black people not welcome.
Actively finds and invites
And that was
qualified
brought up,
candidates
I
to apply
think,
to your job.
because they hosted a U.S. Open
Deliver a lot of
in the
hate.
80s, and people made a big stink on the fact that black people are not allowed to play here. And they were scheduled to get a PGA, and the PGA told them, you either start admitting black people or we're not coming. And they did. And now it's a darling because it's a fantastic golf course. Tiger's won there, so. Krause & Company is brought to you by Hooper Law Office. Call Peter Harbach and Sarah Kahns at 920-250-9959 for your elder law and estate planning needs. Hooper Law Office, providing a pathway to your legacy. Sign up for their free weekly seminars via video conference at estateplanninglive.com. Jonathan Krause, Tommy Clifford with you today here on Krause & Company. And Tommy, going to take the lead on this segment as we talk about the PGA Championship, the second of golf's four majors on the annual calendar. It'll be played today at Thursday. Practice rounds are already underway at Southern Hills Country Club in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, for those of you who follow the sport, until just about a year and a half ago, that is not where the PGA Championship for 2022 was supposed to be contested. Instead, it was supposed to be held at Trump Bedminster Club in New Jersey, just outside of the New York metro area. And I point out that the date of the change and decision is very timely because it happened on January 10th of 2021.
Interesting.
4 days after, of course, what happened at the Capitol, as protesters stormed the Capitol building in an attempt to prevent the Congress from voting to certify the results of the previous year's election and install Joe Biden as our next president. It was decided, in fact, at an emergency meeting of the PGA's board of directors 2 days later, that there was no way in the world that they could be hosting the event at a Trump-owned golf course that close to what had happened on January 6th.
Interesting. So this is a punishment.
It is not a punishment. It is an internal decision. If you want to learn more about the long and winding road that went into the decision not only to take the tournament away from Trump Bedminster, but to award it to Southern Hills, I would steer you towards an article by Michael Bamberger on a relatively new golf following website called the Fire Pit Collective. And it is an excellent job of going inside both the PGA's decision and then some people in the Trump golf camp as well, signing off on this. And then, of course, it ties in what I'll be talking about in my 2 cents today, the downfall of Phil Mickelson as an American sports icon. Not really having anything to do with Donald Trump. But golf is in a very delicate situation because the former president owns 25 or so golf courses around the world.
Right.
And many of them are top-notch golf destinations.
Right.
He owns Doral, which is down in the Miami area, hosted a PGA championship, one of the highlights of the PGA Tour for years and years and years. He also owns Turnberry over in Scotland, where that had been in the rotation to host the British Open. Then Trump bought the golf course, and the Royal and Ancient, which controls the British Open and its locations, decided we're not going to Turnberry anymore.
Interesting.
And I believe that was actually before the president was even, before Trump was even elected president. They made that decision. And it's a very sticky one for the world of golf because you also have this new Saudi Arabia-backed tour called the Live Golf Series, LIV. Greg Norman is out there kind of beating the drum to get guys to sign up, and Phil Mickelson has been promoting it as well. Well, it turns out that the Saudis are hosting their final tour event this year at Trump Doral, bringing in 2 elements that make people incredibly uncomfortable in the sport of golf. Now, if you know anything about pro golfers, they are very conservative.
Very.
And Donald Trump is pretty popular among tour players. In the years that his courses have hosted events, he's treated them very well. He plays golf with a lot of these guys, inviting them to their clubs or showing up, at tournament sites in the past and getting in pro-am rounds, stuff like that. So for the PGA to make that decision at that time to strip a major away from Donald Trump, which is the one thing that he coveted the most,
right,
in terms of the world of golf, was to get a major championship at one of his golf courses. And he figured, well, the British Open has to go to Turnberry. It's in the Rota.
Right.
And then the RNA said, nope, not anymore.
Well, it's all about, people spend money. It's all going to be about money on this one. It's all going to be about money.
And another group that's in a tight spot is the USGA, the U.S. Golf Association. They're the ones who put on the U.S. Open and all of the amateur championships that we have, along with the Women's Open. And the Women's Open was held at Trump Bedminster back in 2018. When Trump signed the contract to bring that golf tournament to his course, he threatened to cross out the women's so that the men's U.S. Open would be played at Trump Bedminster instead. But he eventually agreed to hosting the Women's Open instead. And it was a great success. Players had a great time. He flew in on his private helicopter and made sure that it was captured on TV.
Of course.
As he was flying in to be a part of the trophy ceremony.
Photo op swooping in. Sure. Absolutely.
Oh, man. So the PGA actually ended up having to break its contract and pay Donald Trump for doing so.
Oh, I'm sure that was a big, pretty penny to. Does it say how much they had to pay to get
It does not. That is an undisclosed amount.
If that means that's very painful.
It was several $1 million. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's a lot of money to get a golf course ready for that, to be able to, the infrastructure, we've talked about the digital infrastructure, the seats, the whole 9 yards. It's a humongous undertaking.
And that is why canceling, you might think, well, they canceled it 15 months, 16 months in advance. Even then, that is an incredibly tight timeline to put on an event like this. Because all of the stuff that you were planning to rent and transport and put up at this site in New Jersey, now all of a sudden has to go somewhere else.
Correct.
And it has to be a course that's worthy of a major championship.
And can get all the supplies, can get all the vendors. There's a lot of, and they sell a lot of barley pop and waters there. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
Plus, members have to be willing to give up their golf course for the better part of the year.
Oh yeah, the
You
setup.
won't be playing any rounds before the PGA Championship came to
That's correct. There's lost.
Southern Hills.
There is, yes, there's increased revenue here, but there's going to be lost revenue on that backside. So you're
Yes.
right. You're absolutely right.
Yep. And it's a private club, so there's not so much as like if Aaron Hills had to give up a year's worth of public play.
Right.
But that was the other thing that's included in here was basically, all right, we're not going here. Where are we going? So again, it's Michael Bamberger, and it's in the Fire Pit Collective, and it is free. There is no paywall.
Huge big
on this
scramble.
article.
I mean, that's a big scramble and a big gamble for the PGA.
And a huge blow to someone's ego. Huge.
Oh, yes. Yes,
blow.
yes,
Huge
yes, it is.
blow. Excuse me. All right, we'll take a break. Haley Tenpass will join us to talk about what's up next on Focus Fox Valley, and we'll talk more about what's going on with the PGA Championship that the PGA wouldn't like to talk about right now. That's next on Krause and Company.
If your throat is not working, then your nose better be. And if your nose isn't working, if your throat is tight, it's a problem. So the Brew Untitled is our entire reason for being. We exist to really fix issues that happen in this area. And it is such a
Yeah, I'll never forget.
underserved area.
Like the leaders are.
And they try to.
They got 3 or 4 holes left to play on this Sunday afternoon. And here comes Trump, who at that time was only a candidate for president.
You don't know what to do.
He was a
about it.
no, he would have been president in 2018.
Urgent care, wherever you're
So
gonna go,
in comes Marine One,
the help that you're looking for.
flies over the golf course while the women are playing,
There is a place you can go.
lands at the clubhouse, and out comes the president to help award the trophy to the winner at his golf club.
Is simply put our entire focus on that, find the problems that are there, and deliver solutions for folks who have trouble in those areas.
That keeps people alive.
Is there time today?
Yeah, come on in.
Join us.
We always have time.
We're just when you're working at Abercrombie and Fitch. We want to know all about that.
Wasn't that where you worked? Didn't you say you
I
worked today
did.
now?
I did work
Yeah.
there, and I also watched the documentary.
That's what we
I
saw.
watched it
I
last
watched
night.
it as well.
Enjoy specials and giveaways, and don't miss our annual
it was-
yard sale from 10
I
to
will
4,
say
with all yard
the
sale
store that I
proceeds
worked at was here in Appleton.
Don't miss our customer appreciation
And
celebration at KK Sewing Bag, located
I
at the corner of
never
Main Street and
got
Brown.
the vibe that my position as a retail employee was anything beyond
What was the term
holding
you
clothes.
used?
We were called models.
Yeah.
We were called models. That was the, and I kind of eye rolled at that, like, okay. But I didn't apply there. I walked in one day shopping and I was approached and asked if I
Sure,
wanted
because
to
you
work
were,
there.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that lines up. That rings true.
Yeah, I mean, I was not approached when I walked in. Hey, you'd be perfect.
I would have had to
stocking
walk
shelves
in
the
to
back.
not be approached.
And it was super. It was. I mean, and our managers at the store, you had to have a bachelor's degree to be a manager at the store, and they were just buying time until they found jobs in their
Really, really terrible.
with their
Sure.
degree. Because it was 2008, 2009. So it was the recession. It wasn't a time where there were jobs aplenty.
It's over.
That whole movie's just sketchy from square one. It just makes your skin crawl.
But they had expectations, you know, for like the look of the store and everything, and how we dressed. We had the first like 6
You had to
months-
wear Abercrombie,
Well,
didn't you?
so the first 6 months that I was, the first like 3-4 months that I was there, we could wear anything from Abercrombie and Fitch. So you could wear tank tops, you could wear colors, you could wear whatever you wanted, dress, whatever. And then they changed it like about 6 months into my time there that you could only wear gray, blue,
Solutions window washing business
gray,
is
navy
reaching new
blue,
heights.
or white.
They need more
And you
certified
had to
cleaners
wear
keep
skinny
online
jeans
reviews
and
crystal
flip
clear.
flops. They didn't have to be Abercrombie, but they couldn't obviously be American Eagle
Okay.
or Hollister.
Indeed you
So you,
do.
which one, the back
Hold
pocket
on.
had a design on
What
it,
is an
so,
Hollister, an American, Abercrombie brand?
yes. Also, actually, really funny story, Callan was in soccer this winter, and one of the coaches on the other teams you were playing came up to me and he was like, hey, Haley, right? I was like, yeah, you look super familiar, how do we know each other? He's like, I'm Chad, I was the manager at Hollister while you were working at Abercrombie. I was like, oh my
Hooters at the Mall of America. Very toned down from the Hooters in Atlanta and Panama City.
Oh, sure.
Very
sure. I never had a good meal.
But I would get decent hours there. You know, I would probably get 20.
I can't imagine why.
25.
I can't imagine it at all.
Well, no. Like I would ask for hours. Like, can I work more?
We're back.
And scene.
Welcome back, Krause and Company, wrapping things up here on a Tuesday with Tommy edition. Great job, Tommy, by helping us out, fill all that time after my
Thank you.
guest
Glad to be
ghosted
here.
me.
Always glad to be here.
Yeah. Not ghosting us today is Haley Tenpass, host of Focus Fox Valley. What is coming up next on the show?
All right, here's what we got. First hour, Tony Cole from Kits and File Ace Hardware is with us in studio. He's going to bring a treasure box of items that are effective for the season. So we'll talk with Tony. I don't even know what he's going to bring. It's kind of like a mystery.
I know, he always likes to surprise you.
It's really fun. So Tony will be here. We're going to talk products for spring. I'd imagine some yard things and whatnot. So looking forward to that. Then it's an hour of history here in hour number 2. Christine Williams joining us once again from the Appleton Historical Society. We are going to talk about Jimmo's Hat Cleaners, a staple in downtown Appleton from 1927 to 1980. And we're going to learn more about the workings of the shop, the history, of course, and Christine's a wealth of knowledge on that. So that's our topic for today.
I could use that service today to get sweat out of my golf caps.
Yeah.
Because I have one of those things where you can put it in the laundry
Have you ever
or the dishwasher, but it never seems to really come out.
Have you ever tried laundry stripping? Where
Laundry stripping?
You
You gotta watch TikTok. It's
no,
a rage.
You use like your bathtub and you put a couple ingredients, one being like borax, one being detergent, and you let your clothes or your hat just soak, and it's fascinating. I've seen it on TikTok. Yes.
Boy, if I only had TikTok to give me advice on everything in life
Listen, you
and
never
track
know.
my keystrokes.
You never know what you're gonna find.
You never know.
Also today, the Appleton Youth Lions, and you know, it can't be said enough about what our area Lions clubs are able to do for our community. They are staples. Appleton New Lions celebrating 100 years coming up, and they've got an event this weekend, I believe, so we'll hear more about that and celebrate 100 years, a centennial of New Lions being part of our community.
Had a chance to chat with the Lees last week.
Yes, they will be in once again, so
Excellent.
we're looking forward
Great
to it.
people. Yeah, last Tuesday. It was
Yeah.
awesome to talk to them.
Just don't leave them sitting out there for 20 minutes because you forgot. You missed the message that they were here. That was me. Sorry about that. All right, Haley, that's coming up
Thank
next
you.
in about 15 minutes here on WHBY. And again, Tommy, thank you very much. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, so now it's time for my 2 cents daily opinion feature here on Krause and Company. For many years, my favorite athlete in the world was golfer Phil Mickelson. Lefty was the anti-Tiger of my generation, the guy who didn't always come up clutch in the biggest moment. The player that believed there was not a shot he couldn't pull off, and unfortunately proved that he couldn't pull them all off in very embarrassing ways on golf's biggest stages. The guy who talked trash with his fellow players, put big money on practice round matches on